Hello.
Hey.
All right. So let's wait for Toon to get here. So I'll probably just do the introduction. So hello, welcome to just another indie show. The show where we're talking about and uh, the show where we're talking about film, TV, animation, video games, all that sort of shit. And so and so today got we've got Mountain Lion. Say hello.
Hi.
and we will be joined shortly by Mr. Toon. He's getting his way. He's making his way here in just a minute. So, so yeah. So honestly, let's not even like fully wait for him. We can catch him up. So today we are starting off by talking about something that's fairly close to both of us, I think, in one way or another. That that being Hazbin Hotel season 1, which and so uh, and so I guess sort of like just starting off with the basics. So how did you get into Hazbin Hotel first of all?
I watched it around when it blew up the internet, and then I had forgotten about it for a while. My little brother got into it, and then I rewatched it.
Right. And I'm sort of similar. I heard about it and watched it when the pilot first came out. I forgot about it for a couple years, and then my in college my roommate introduced me to it and Hell of a Boss, and that's how I really got introduced to it and briefly got into the fandom for the show. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So in a way, it's hard for me to be sort of critical about it because it is the show that kind of got me through college, uh, but I but I am able now to sort of put my bias aside and whatnot. So what? And so obviously our opinions have changed in the years since. But what did you think when you first watched it?
So through my rewatch, um, that actually only happened after I watched season 2.
Yeah,
So I'd gone through season 2. I thought it was actually I mean it was kind of bad. I thought episode 1 and 2 were great, and then 3 made me lose my mind. And then roughly a few months ago I uh finally rewatched season 1,
yeah,
which I am on the consensus that it's significantly worse than season 2, particularly because of the pacing, where the plot just fucking halts for several episodes at a time.
yeah, yeah. And we'll get into that when we actually start the discussion. But and I first watched season 1 when it first came out in early 2024, and I liked it well enough when it came out. I thought like it was a pretty decent show. Like it obviously had its flaws with the pace and whatnot, but I thought the show overall was pretty good. If I'm remembering correctly, when I first saw it, I gave it like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7. But yeah, but yeah, obviously, like I said, things have changed. So, I say we just get started and we'll sort of bring Toon in when he gets here. So yeah. So so you sort of just gave your consensus, so I'll give mine. Hazbin Hotel season 1. It is not good. it is really not good. It is completely broken on a plot and almost completely broken on a character level, and all the other attributes like animation, music, and whatnot vary wildly in quality. And this is a problem that the entire show suffers from right now, season 1 and season 2. But the show, and we'll get into this later, but the show also completely mishandles its theme of redemption, and what, which we can get into that when we start talking about the episodes. But uh, like the entire show is about redemption, and it fails that premise like almost immediately. So, so I so I was thinking we go episode by episode here, just breaking down everything and breaking down all 8 episodes of season 1, and just giving our thoughts on them, what we liked, what we didn't, and all that sort of stuff. All right. Then getting into the character work and all the other stuff. So episode 1 starts with a big old spiel from Charlie about what we refer to as the story of hell, how heaven came to be, Lucifer's role in it, the Adam and Lilith in the Adam and Lilith, the Garden of Eden, and whatnot, all leading up to now, where heaven has created the annual extermination to wipe out the sinners of hell to prevent an uprising against heaven. So so automatically, I feel like the show is sort of setting up Adam to fail as an antagonist, because like the first line Charlie says is like, but Adam was commanded and Lilith wouldn't submit to his will, which that just automatically tells you, oh, so he's gonna be a one-note sexist piece of shit. All right. And they And there are two sort of major problems I have with this introduction scene. First of all, they make it an explicit point that Adam does not also eat the forbidden fruit alongside Eve, which that completely caught me off guard when I first watched it. I was like, "What?" It's like, wait, why doesn't Adam eat the fruit too? Like that's a huge part of biblical lore and
Yeah,
whatnot.
it takes a lot of mythological deviations.
Yeah, which, I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's also just something like you gotta go like, wait, what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a bit whiplashy to people who
yeah,
aren't used to that sort of thing.
yeah. And the second thing that I sort of took note on is that the story of hell that Charlie reads out makes it sound like the exterminations have been going on forever. Makes it sound like they've been going on for a very long time. Obviously, later down the line, we learn that is not the case. S- s- And so anyway, so then we get a little bit of small talk between Charlie and Vaggie, where we establish that Charlie's mother, Lilith, has been gone for 7 years, and- which it's obviously explained later on that a lot of stuff has the whole 7 years thing behind it, but so I can't even really criticize that on initial watch. It's just sort of like, huh, that's a weird and specific number, but whatever. Mm, mm, I will say it is a little weird that they show that it's been a week since the extermination, but hell is like still on fire and complete shit show and whatnot, which I feel like that's not necessarily a huge issue. I was like, huh, it's kind of weird that all this stuff is still going on and whatnot. And And then we get Alistair's attempt at a commercial to show the hotel, which I don't know how he even recorded this whole thing if he's against video cameras in the store, but you know, and we also see that Charlie has met 666 News at this point, has met Katie Killjoy, which is in line with the pilot, but it gets somewhat contradicted later on, and so it's and it's also just a lot of exposition from Alistair. Mostly, it's like saying, "Oh, the hotel was funded 5 days ago by Lucifer's daughter. She has daddy issues." Blah 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 blah. When it's like you can show this stuff without explaining it to us. That's automatically a huge problem with the show. It tells us a lot of information, like Charlie's problems with Lucifer, but it never shows them to us, at least not properly.
I feel like what they've been like, what they were going for in the first place was kind of that like super high speed, uh, rapid information delivery and stuff, kind of like the dialogue of like Gilmore Girls, but it becomes jarring to the audience when basically no one speaks to the tempo that Charlie does.
Yeah. It's, and also this is more of like, oh, what I would have wanted thing, but I really wish we actually saw the hotel getting founded. Like that sounds like a natural place to start the story instead of, oh, the hotel's already founded, da 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 da. Like that's just a sort of thing that I wish we could have seen, and I don't know, maybe we'll see it later in the show, but I honestly doubt it. So,
I would agree because then we would like get a whole lot more in depth uh exploration of just how bad this thing has been out of business. Like other shows, you know, such as like I mean, it's the first comparison that comes to mind. There's other examples, but Netflix's Daredevil made sure to show you what it was like before Foggy and Matt's first client. Lots of things like to do that. We have to really see it being built, chart, and them trying to promote the hotel and see it completely fail and fail until we eventually get to where we are now.
yeah,
It
and
would
I
it
feel
would
like
certainly build more excitement uh when we finally get our first guest.
yeah, and I feel like the show is also, because there's a lot of stuff, especially in season 2, that contradicts the pilot. But I feel like they just sort of assume you've watched the pilot, watching episode 1. It's, it's it's like, oh, what about how the hotel was founded and whatnot? And it doesn't matter. It was in the pilot. When it's like, okay, this is on Amazon. There's probably a good amount of people who haven't watched the pilot and are just checking this out casually. So
Yeah, and I think it's a weird direction in the first place since Hell of a Boss bothered to remake its pilot to make it more clear when you finally watch the full season, but Hazbin doesn't really do that. And that's particularly a confusing thing because it's soft canon. Not everything that happened in the pilot even happened. Some things did, such as the Katie Killjoy interview, and Angel's arrival and Alistair's arrival, but the way they don't happen aren't also necessarily, you know, what actually happened. So Has-Been never really tries to make you understand that initial prologue. We're just kind of thrown into the mix of, you know, the absolute distraught going on since the extermination.
yeah, and so the and so yeah, so following the commercial, we get basically just a whole like casual dialogue scene where we're introduced to all the characters, and the o- the only real thing of note is that the scene obviously introduces Angel Dust and the rest of the crew, and I'm not sure about you, but Angel is so painfully unfunny in this scene, like this opening scene introduced to him. Like this sort of stereotype that people attribute to him is true in this scene where he's just oh the obnoxious gay horny spider and who's all about sex and whatnot. Which
Yeah, and that attributes to like a larger problem with Hasbin's humor. It feels like either Viv, or the writing team in general had like this big idea on what sex comedy is like, rather than actually watching the history of sex comedy and like how these things are delivered. It's like, I don't want to sound insulting, but it really kind of does feel like sometimes it's as if a child discovered sex humor for the first time and then they, say penis and then it's like, haha, funny, when that's just not typically how that works.
yeah, and I really don't have any notes for like the other characters being introduced because they really aren't that important until much later in the season. But I will say when we're introduced to Angel, Charlie makes a point that she doesn't want to exploit him, which it's fine enough in the moment, but it's really funny to think about after season two.
That's a whole thing. Like, that'd probably need to be an episode in itself on what they do to Charlie's previous commitment as a really good friend to Angel in season one.
Yeah. All right. So then Charlie gets a call from Lucifer about one and telling her, basically telling her to meet with the leader of Heaven's army to negotiate or whatever, and we're told that it's it's impressed upon us that Lucifer is an absent father and that he doesn't care about Charlie when he's seemingly regularly keeping in contact with her, which admittedly we do find out later is usually just when he needs something because the show can't decide whether or not Lucifer is a deadbeat or not, and and Charlie also later shows like sort of displeasure in this, even though right now she's like, "Oh my god, yes, I'm so happy to do this at Lucifer's offer," which just sort of I'm sure there's an explanation for it, but it also just sort of weirded me out, like the sort of inconsistency there, and it's also like brings up a point that we're going to get to after the first song, which why did Lucifer not tell Charlie that Adam was the leader of Heaven's army? Like that would be kind of an important thing to mention to her, you'd think.
I mean, he exhibits impulsive like actions pretty frequently, and it's not even until season 2 where he starts actually thinking of those things. I would find it personally pretty consistent as a part of his character, because even then with season 2, it's Vaggie suggesting good ideas to him. I don't think he thought of it because
Yeah.
he's too busy, like he's too focused on trying to get Charlie back in his life, that he doesn't actually take the retrospect of thinking about how he can do that, which is certainly accurate to how a lot of desperate uh deadbeats act.
Right. So then we get our first song of the show, "Happy Day in Hell," which I feel like it's a serviceable enough song, but it's also really nothing special, and it shows like already a bit of aggressive naivete for Charlie. Like she's talking about about how good sinners are and whatnot when she can't even get through her I Want song without them being dicks.
I mean, I think one thing like particularly good I can say about you know, oh my god, you just said this on name, Happy Day in Hell, is that it is really our first scene of like properly setting the tone that will be carried out mostly throughout season one of this very whimsical, dark humorous world.
Yeah. And so we'll. Oh, there's Toon. Hey, Toon, welcome to the show.
Hold on. Yeah, what's good? What's good? Feeling good.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we just so we were just talking about episode 1, and we just got to Happy Day in Hell. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, you guys could keep talking about it. I'll follow along.
all right, so I was gonna say, do we want to talk about the theme of major theme of the show now, or do we want to save that for later?
Probably later, in my opinion, because it allows for us to like kind of take apart everything, piece by like episode by episode, and then we could look at the main idea that the show is presenting.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
say so too because we can get all the messy stuff out of the way, and then also it's we by the we can also like highlight by the end how you know it consistently doesn't really say anything
yeah,
throughout the
all right,
entirety.
all right. So we'll save it for later. So yeah, Happy Day in Hell really isn't that noteworthy of a song. It's just sort of like, oh, the whimsical opening number that introduces you to the world, and that's pretty much it. Like it's still a decent song, but it's probably in like like middle to lower echelon in terms of the songs in the show.
Yeah.
So,
I don't find it too bad of a show. I mean, sorry, not a show. Song. It kind of gives me a lot of Bonjour vibes from Beauty and the Beast, but like very. This is just me, but I just found it a bit cringe upon rewatch.
yeah,
It actually mostly reminds me of like the average Wizard of Oz song, actually. But I mean, I will say like it really doesn't have a unique sound even within this show, which is kind of weird because animated musicals really do tend to open with a pretty noteworthy song.
yeah. And this is more so in season 2, but I'm gonna be comparing that, especially in the video I make on it. I'm gonna be comparing Hazbin Hotel to K-pop Demon Hunters a lot, and right now, just compare Happy Day in Hell to how it's done. Like it's really not even close.
Yeah. It Oh my God, I'm hearing the song in my head right now and I'm like, yeah, man. That's nah. No. So also just the majority of the song itself, what I'm seeing in the shots, comes off as just like a very I don't, I don't know if you guys ever watched it, but they did like an open bar where the voice actors sung the songs that I guess their characters do in like an actual bar in front of people. And I remember watching a clip of that Charlie's VA singing Happy Day in Hell and literally no one was reacting compared to Angel Dust's voice actor singing Poison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I have not seen anything like that. It sounds fun. Unfortunately, I've only seen the Broadway concert.
I did not know they had a Broadway concert.
Yeah, it's on Prime. It's there. It's fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
It's more of a fun time for me than watching the actual show.
Yeah. So anyway, so after Happy Day in Hell, Charlie gets to what I believe is is like the sort of like hell-based headquarters of heaven, where and where and the embassy, I guess you can call it, where and we meet probably the third worst character in season 1, which is Adam. I I'm just gonna come gloves off. And you guys know about this. I fucking hate Adam.
Uh, um, I will say upon rewatch, I will say his introduction is pretty funny. I find his introduction pretty fucking hilarious. I like his first scene a lot.
Yeah.
Super entertaining. It's
Yeah.
just when I see the way that Adam interacts with Charlie and also with how he does with Luke, this is probably something we could talk about later. But I just gotta ask, why does Luke respect Adam the way she does? Like I get at the moment they're at a meeting, so she's just like, sir, yes, sir, blah blah blah, like a guard. But when it comes to the rest of the season and season 2, and we see how much Luke actually cares for him, which I'm not going to go too much into because we're not talking about season 2, but I just have to ask, like, what does she see in him? And also, why did Adam bring her to the Skype call? Like, what
Yeah.
does she do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like one, as you mentioned, she is in love with him, but why does she respect him? Why does she care about him? I don't think they dive into that pretty like actually not even slightly shallow. Like unfortunately, I would say like every shitty relationship dynamic in the entire show is explored with more detail than you can ever get from the actual show other than assumptions about Loot and Adam, which is an issue. I mean, I feel like they didn't necessarily initially plan for Luke to be a major character, and that's why. But upon retrospect, the moment you revisit, season 1, and she's treated with such, neglect compared to being set up as a central villain in the future of the show, it's just jarring.
Yeah. Also, since you mentioned the Skype call, that was going to be my next point. And already within like the first half of the episode, they already introduced ineffectively. I'm not exactly sure if it's world breaking, but it's definitely like at least damaging thing, which is that heaven has projector like lifelike projector technology that we see later in Hell's Forever can like physically interact with people in hell, and they just never use it past this point.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That could make exterminations way easier to execute if they were to have more holograms of their exterminators just killing people of hell to make the genocide easier.
Yeah.
Also, I will say something I picked up on immediately is that Charlie is not prepared at all in the slightest for this shit. And that really pisses me off because when she actually starts trying to sing before Adam cuts her off, she's like, "Oh shit, I have no time, blah blah blah." And it's like, "Well, dude, you didn't come in here with a presentation." I get that it's kind of on short notice because her dad called her out of nowhere, but even if she had her dad ask, and even if they were to say no, just the possibility of that, the fact that she didn't prepare just makes her come off as very unintelligent because yeah, they're not going to take you seriously if you don't have a proper presentation. Even if Adam ends up disagreeing, either way, it's better you look like you have some urgency than just bumbling around and saying, "Oh, well, we have another problem." And it's just like, "Oh boy." I like
Yeah.
just get to the point. Get to the point. Just say what's on your mind.
Yeah. honestly skipping over the whole commercial subplot, because as we see by the end of the episode, the entire subplot goes nowhere. We never even see the commercial, so it's pretty much pointless. So, and I do have 2 points about it, but that's in a minute. So, go on. So, sort of continuing with the Charlie plot, I feel like Charlie actually does something smart in this scene. She's like, "Oh, Adam, you're so smart and capable, and you love putting your name on shit and whatnot." Like playing to his ego. Like, I like that. I, like, genuinely think that's pretty smart, and I wish he did more stuff like that in the show.
I feel like that. Holy shit, got some shit stuck in my throat. I feel like if she was to kind of do that, especially when she goes to visit Angel Dust at the studio, I feel like that could have helped a lot with dealing with Valentino, because he kind of has the same kind of ego problem as Adam does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a consistent thing that there's like a lot of the antagonists are narcissists, and we can even make a joke here, which go into season 2 later. But gosh, if only she did a similar action against Vox.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
only.
Meanwhile, Alistair's constantly doing that.
Yeah. I actually do have a big issue with Adam in the scene, and this kind of looks bad on all of heaven, but he mentions upon the list of problems, he says, "Oh, global warming," and then he's like, "Oh wait, no, that's Earth's problem." And I don't know if you guys know, but in Hell of a Boss, the pilot episode, Stolas has a throwaway line, or I don't remember specifically, but he does tell Blitz that he uses the book to go to the human world to convince humans that global warming isn't real. So just thinking about that, when Adam says, "Oh wait, no, that's Earth's problem," does Heaven like look into the shit at all? Or like, do they actually not care about Earth at all? Like, I understand they don't have to be watching Hell 24/7, but in the whole opening monologue, it's like, oh, heaven, they did all this shit to make sure that Earth was unpolluted and pure, and now that hell exists, they're not going to put in the extra elbow grease to make sure it doesn't end up shitty. Like, forget about hell, man. Your creation is, dying, and even your biggest soldier that you got on your roster is like, oh yeah, that's their problem, but you're not gonna do shit. Like, what the fuck?
And I would
I think
agree,
that
but
certainly plays into like the fact that in general, Heaven doesn't seem to care about a whole lot other than their own personal gain.
and I would agree, but also the pilot of Hell of a Boss has since been made like explicitly non-canon, so
Oh yeah, right.
Even the remake,
Um,
I thought the remake was canon.
the remake
well,
is canon, but
yeah,
not the actual pilot released on YouTube.
yeah. All right, then I'll
Okay.
take that back, but I still found that absolutely crazy. I refuse. I absolutely refuse to believe that. It's just
Yeah.
like they just let that shit slide. Like, even if the scene where Stolas is like, "Oh, well, I used that to convince people that global warming isn't a real thing," Heaven should still take their time to actually care about the problems on Earth. I'm not saying they should do everything on Earth because that would risk exposure, but they clearly have operatives on Earth like the cherubs, helping out humans. So there's nothing stopping them from at least taking the situation a bit more seriously. And I feel like overall that could be something that Charlie could be partly inspired by the fact that Heaven cares so much, they care about their own people and people on Earth, but they don't really do that. So I kind of start to question, well, Charlie, what's so admirable about Heaven when, one of your interactions with an angel is like he's a major douchebag?
Yeah. Right, so now we get to the one part of the commercial subplot that I actually liked, which is the nifty bit.
Oh yeah, that shit, that got me to chuckle a little bit. I gotta say.
Yeah,
Nifty is just consistently the funniest character on the show.
I was gonna say Nifty is like genuinely the funniest character in the show, in like
Nifty
the one.
is actually hilarious. Like has been, I will say, like they genuinely do, slapstick and a lot of their stuff, like actually kind of well. It's mostly the political and like sex humor that never lands, or is hit or miss.
Yeah, and Nifty being hilarious also amounts to Kamiko Glenn just being a great actress and able to say these insane lines and whatnot.
The childish enthusiasm is what really sells it. It's kind of the same reason why we can hear oh my gosh, Illumili and the Mario movie say the darkest shit possible and it be really funny. It's because of like the tone of voice that's set in.
Yeah.
I agree. So that's fun, and I think after that we get back to the meeting, and then Charlie finally relents, and then she's like, "Oh yeah. I have to tell you my actual plan, which is like took you so long." And then we have that.
Oh no, we had to do a bit with Vaggie and Alistair first.
Oh what? Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
I just want I I haven't even watched episode 1 that long ago, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, which to be fair,
He's
that
already
doesn't
skipping scenes.
which
Nah,
to be
man.
fair, that doesn't accomplish much. It's literally just saying just Alistair expositing why he's there. It's just like, oh, I'm here to see to see people fail and blah 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 blah. Like,
It's like, yes, we know. We heard you say the same exact thing literally when the episode started. Please insult my intelligence more, man. I love it.
man, I do love tell don't show.
No, don't you understand? You don't have a brain that has a memory. What? They have to recap everything.
You might be onto something because I forgot that totally unimportant scene, immediately. So yeah.
A very important scene and a very necessary subplot.
Yeah, but uh, I mean, oh, actually, this is something that I picked up and I kind of was like, whoa, Alistair does a cane, snaps his fingers, and then everyone is just there. So immediately I'm like, wait a second, you couldn't have done that so many times against any let's say in the last episode where he's fighting Adam, he could have just went, "Oh, here's Husk. Do something." Like, what the fuck? He has the ability to teleport people around, against their will, quite willingly, and he just doesn't do that at all ever
We
again.
love the cliche trope, and I'm being sarcastic, but Hasbin does love this trope of introduce something really broken, never use it again.
Which is insane work.
Yeah, or have something incredibly broken introduced later, and you're like, why wasn't that here before?
Yeah, it's just quite silly. And the fact that I just kind of picked up on that and I just kind of felt like, wow, there's a lot of problems that Alistair has down the line that couldn't have been solved if he just snapped his fingers.
Yeah, and which I'm gonna get into this later, but I genuinely do not know what Alistair's like power level is because they introduce a ton of fucking random abilities that he can do, and it's never really consistent.
Well, I mean, he is stated to be like the most powerful sinner in hell, which does stay true. Like I said before, on my rewatch of season 2, I found out that I noticed that they do make it very explicitly clear that after the Adam fight, he is objectively nerfed. Uh, I like, and I'm pretty sure there Rosie is mostly just stroking his ego, trying to convince him that he's still the strongest when he's literally not. But like, if he's so strong, why doesn't he use like half his abilities? He just uses one ability one moment and then forgets it exists for an entire season of television. It's CW Flash syndrome.
Yeah. All right, so now we're getting back to into the main plot with Charlie, where she breaks down the whole like, oh no, our big problem is the overpopulation of hell. Now I'm just like, oh yeah, that's your problem because Adam is unfunny, and then this is where we're properly introduced to Loot, and Loot's just here to aura farm this entire season. Loot exists in season 1 to either aura farm or exposit information. Like her in this scene is like, oh, angels don't make mistakes. You're only alive because Lucifer made a deal to protect Hellborn and whatnot.
You know, we keep saying she exists to aura farm, but honestly, what aura farming is she doing other than like rarely being allowed to talk shit? Which Adam is better at, by the way.
I mean, she exists for the purpose to establish that there's a connection, you know. That's cool. Yeah, that's super important.
Yeah. There's a connection. Super interesting.
By the way,
I see why they gave her such big wings.
they thought she was more important than his literal fucking son, but yeah.
Poor Abel.
And oh my god, you just brought up a great point, and I was gonna bring this up later, but where the fuck is Abel in season 1?
He's just chilling, having probably doing absolutely fucking nothing like he does in season 2.
Yeah, literally fuck all. Adam was probably getting stabbed by Nifty. He looked up to heaven and he was like, "Perhaps I treated you too harshly." He died. But no, I'm getting too ahead of myself. We get the best musical number in the series, in my opinion. Hell is Forever. And
Oh, I completely disagree. I think Hell is Forever is completely fucking mid and just carried by Alex's performance.
I don't know, man. That shit, I really do rock with it. I fuck with it a lot. It's very like immature garage band type shit. Like this is the kind of stuff that I think Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid would sing when he reaches 18. But
Yeah, that's
I
an
like
aspect I find like really cool about the show is that anytime a heaven character, like in terms of being part of the extermination, you know, exterminators line, right? It just has to be a rock song every time. Abel gets a rock song, Loot gets a rock song, and every single Adam song is rock for his segments. It's great.
hey, I mean they were consistent there. We like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a good thing to establish a very consistent sound type for certain types of characters.
yeah, I agree. And you know, the song, you know, goes through the it goes through the whole like, you know, hell is forever and at the end of the day, sinners are always going to be down there. You know, there's no real point in trying to change them because they already had their chance. And at least this is just me, but I just agree with that because outside of maybe a handful of sinners that end up being like Serpentious, not everyone's a Serpentious, you know. So to an extent, he's kind of right, but you know, I can kind of see Charlie's point of view and why she's so upset about it. Like, you know, I can make them change, but you know, let's be honest, Charlie, you didn't really come with a good presentation to counter him, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be like part of our larger point when we actually finally talk about the theme of redemption. This show likes to introduce people like Serpentius, but in like literally a couple scenes later, they'll have people who are even less interested in redemption and do worse things than like Angel, like the guy who killed his wife, Gag, in season 2.
Yeah.
Like, it never really brings up like how, what the process for them is.
Yeah. And so then we get Hell's Forever, and it's revealed that the extermination has been moved up from a year to 6 months from now, which Charlie weirdly just doesn't say to the rest of them when she comes in. She's like uh oh, I'm sorry, I have something to tell you. Like she's like, no, everything's fine, and leaves them to figure it out when the news comes on.
Also, I do find the fact that the extermination was cut very stupid because they know that one of their own got killed. So why the fuck are we going to make the exterminations more sooner instead of having them be at the regular time in which you can plan more and scout out the area to find out who, like, how one of your own died? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like,
I
it's
think
like,
it's just very abundantly clear that Adam especially due to Charlie pissing him off, hates Sinners so much that he's just so eager to go and kill them already. He very consistently. I know it's not the case for everyone. It's made very clear it's not the case for everyone, but at least for Adam, who is running the show beyond the exterminations right now, just cannot wait to get off his ass and kill some sinners.
yeah, of course. And I think it's be a very good. But the issue is that no one else in heaven calls
Oh, you're
Like-
cutting out.
My bad. What I was saying is that no one else in heaven, when we eventually go up there in the show, like no one calls it out. No one's like, "Why the fuck did you cut the time between exterminations?" You know, especially since one of them are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that the show refuses to put any effort in, is establishing why anybody actually cares about Adam even slightly. Loot, we already said, like, it doesn't really make anything properly clear. But even Sarah, why does she tolerate him? Everyone, it's weird.
And that raises a few problems that we'll talk about later. But anyways, so we end episode 1 with the reveal that an exorcist has been killed, which we for now assume, but it's told to us should not be possible. And Luke mentions that sinners are catching on, which my me thought was like, okay, maybe I'm stupid, but catching on to what? Because you think they're catching on to them being killed. I don't think one body that nobody except for the V's, which you find out later, has found or noticed is gonna lead to much.
Also, it could have been a good moment to actually show Lute's struggle with trusting Adam by bringing up the idea that maybe they should just uncut the time between exterminations. Would have been nice to kind of like actually flesh her out a bit more and say, well, yeah, they killed one of our own. Maybe we should, like revert the time back to normal and then have Adam insist like, oh wait, no, 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 no. This is the best way to do things. Just to give her some flavor, but nah, they both agree this is okay. This is
Yeah,
yes.
she mostly only serves as his like lapdog.
So
And
literally,
the show certainly like later makes fun of it and points it out, but I don't think that necessarily, like it really is lampshading. The show, even though points it out, doesn't really do anything to fix that aspect about her. She doesn't have a whole lot to do outside of doing whatever he says. She's a yes woman for him, and that's about it.
yeah. Yeah, season 1 is like, and even season 2 is weirdly allergic to giving Luke any development.
Well, they have gravity, but then it does nothing. In fact, her character just reverts back to normal after that song. It's weird.
Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So that's episode 1. And I think it's perfectly like middle of the road, like 5 out of 10. Like there's like it really doesn't do much special, but it's not too terrible either. Except for the oh wait, no, I just realized my other problem that makes this episode at least a 5. So, which I pointed this out before, but Heaven has hologram technology that can interact with people in hell, but they never once thought to invent fucking body cams so that they can record and so the exorcist could record stuff in case things go wrong.
Yeah, that yeah, I remember you mentioning that point earlier. Like you pointed it out then, I think it was a very good idea, but how do I think about it? I feel like that even if they had body cams, and this is just me, I feel like it probably wouldn't have still been covered up by Adam. And this is something else with the whole like dead exterminator thing. Adam, at least to my knowledge, doesn't let Sarah know. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, this is a super big problem, but we're gonna do fuck all about it. Like at least in Adam's head, like we're gonna do fuck all about it.
Yeah, Adam, like the show, a big like thing that drives the heaven meeting like issue later is that really Adam is, not going by the book at all. So I don't think he would really have a use for body cams, because if he wants to do something to sinners that someone up in heaven, doesn't like, then he can get away with it. There'd be no record of it. And if someone was to report it, who are they gonna believe? Their practically right hand man or some random motherfucker?
Well, that's not a problem if it's Adam controlling if it's only him and Loot seeing them.
I mean, I guess they could be the only ones access to body cams.
Yes, like it's just weird to me that they have absolutely no means of like monitoring their surroundings in case something goes wrong, which inevitably something goes wrong and it's a complete mystery to heaven when if they had fucking body cams, like, oh yeah, it's this sinner, go down and kill them.
Oh yeah, when you put it like that, and well then yeah, then I would agree because when you brought up the idea of body cams initially, I kind of thought, well, yeah, it's for him, for like Adam, the other exterminators, and for Sarah to see, and whoever else is in on this. But if it is just like for something for Adam's eyes only and Loot, then yeah, why not get body cams? So I could get it if that was the context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would understand. I don't really see a reason why he wouldn't in that scenario, especially if he wants to use it as blackmail later. Select specific parts of footage. Pretty common tactic.
Yeah. If anything, it would make for a more natural way for Vaggy to go to Carmilla towards the end, besides Alistair finally revealing it, but I'll get to that in a few.
Yeah. We still got like five or six episodes before we cover that.
Yeah. So, moving on to episode 2, and nothing much happens in this episode until like a minute in when Serpentius shows up, and right off the bat, I just need to say it, Serpentius is probably the best written character in the show. Like, I genuinely have very few problems with how Pentius is written, at least in season 1.
I think he's. Hold on. I think he is pretty much all right. Um, of course, when we go on to season 2, my ideas on that is going to change because I have quite a few issues. But I'm gonna just wait until season 2. But I find him pretty all right. He's definitely much better as a step up from his pilot counterpart. That's for sure. I will say though, um, I feel like what should have been done instead of reusing Penches, in my opinion, because I'm not saying that they should have never brought him back, but I feel like just to make sure that the world of the Helliverse is more interconnected. When Vox said, "Oh, I just know just the person," I thought he was going to say, "Oh, why not the imps? You know, why not have the imps do it, or like get someone like Stryker to do it?" Because I think at the time of Hazbin Hotel, Hell of a Boss, I think was like early in season 2 or something like that. So I think they had options outside of Penches.
Yeah,
And I sorry to cut you off, but I highly doubt that Valentino has all these people in his pocket because it's
yeah.
like, eh.
Yeah, well, my big thing with that is that would require them to acknowledge that Hazbin and Helva are set in the same universe, which they're yet to do because there is no timeline in this show. So
Yeah, they're canonically put together, but it falls into a very common trap we've seen throughout basically every interconnected universe in fiction for a very long time, outside of, like, I guess recently, one that has not fallen into the trap is their, Remedy Entertainment's game universe. It's where, well, we establish these things take place in the same, you know, continuity, and they're even in the same exact singular universe. However, they're so disconnected from each other, they don't even slightly affect each other. And, these separate shows, projects, or whatever they are, kind of have their entire character roster ignored, even when they could have been used to solve a problem.
yeah,
Like, you can watch the entirety of Has-Been, or even the entirety of Hell of a Boss, and you would never know one or the other exists.
yeah, and that's a huge problem if you're trying to make like a shared universe thing, like like the Helliverse obviously is.
Yeah, like, if you want to make a shared universe, put the effort into it. You don't have to do it just for the gimmick. I I
Yeah,
I, I personally thought it was mostly to help promote, like, make it seem more exciting than it actually is. But that would still be, you know, it would still feel very shallow if that was the only reason it happened.
yeah. So, so my only real question with Serpentius right now, as of his introduction, is why he wants to like work with the V's or like be seen as the V's equal. Like he should know who they are and like the amount of like in like their reputation and whatnot. So,
I feel like for me, when it comes to just wanting to impress them, I don't have a problem with it, but but from what is established later on, it was just more so like he was just trying to make a name for himself kind of thing. So I don't really get, and in retrospect, I don't really get that, oh, I should impress the V's, even though considering how impressive his technology is, even if he is kind of pathetic as a person and himself in combat, you know, I don't feel like he should have this overbearing need to, oh, I gotta impress these guys.
yeah,
I
so,
I think it's for the platform pressure. It's the same reason why Charlie's plan later in season 2 and uh episode 1, no, episode 3, is to really, like, I feel like he thinks that the easiest way to really get known is through the V's platform, which is really admittedly huge if you really think about just how much reach they're shown to have later in season 2. But I guess at the same time, it wouldn't be immediately abundantly clear why he would want their platform in season 1, since they don't do a whole lot of world building of the V's influence in season 1 at all.
Yeah, the V's are barely even characters in season 1, besides debatably Val.
Yeah,
Actually,
even with Val, he's only for that one filler episode, the Goat Masquerade. He doesn't appear outside of that episode for the most part. You'd be forgiven for thinking that Vox has more screen time in season 1 than Valentino does.
Yeah.
keep in mind, while after all of that, after their attempt with Serpentius too, keep in mind they just never try to do anything like this again, like at all. They just fucking retreat instantly after Serpentius is done. They're like, "No, fuck you, you fucked up. It wasn't even a day. Okay, fuck you, bye." And it's like, okay, get someone else. The fuck, keep trying.
Yeah.
No. Can't you see? Despite their huge platform, they don't really need to do that. They also can't do that. Obviously, they don't know how.
Well, well, that's dumb because we find out later on that Angel Dust ends up owing like these shark mafia motherfuckers like something. And it never dawns over Vox at least that, oh, maybe I could use these guys to, head to the hotel for me, like give them some weapons and then just have them do my bidding. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. So
Fox is actually so stupid.
yeah.
Constantly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like Vox is more of an issue in season 2, but yeah, as of right now in season 1, he's just really stupid and unnecessary. It's,
Yeah, that'll become a huge thing later because they really want you to take him seriously as this big threat due to his ruthlessness and calculation, but he doesn't actually have any.
yeah. And so, speaking of Vox, we're introduced to him and to a lesser extent Velvet, and just showing how how wide the V's net is, and Vox does a little press junket where he's like, oh, we're introducing Vox Tech Angelic Security. And, and two things about this. One, I find it really unnecessary that Vox has to explain to the crowd, the audience, that Vox Tech is the pioneer of hell and whatnot. That's just blatant fucking exposition.
Yeah, and there's no reason for them to tell us to because literally every phone in hell, at least from what I could see, all has the Voxtec logo. It's like, dude, what the
I
fuck,
think
man?
I think to a certain extent, you can definitely say it's blatant exposition. But what I've certainly seen throughout, we have it in history too, but also in general fiction, is I feel like it's mostly used as a sort of propaganda and ego stroke to keep in the public eye. But at the same time, you could definitely argue, why would he need to do that anyway?
Yeah. So, it, and they also use the scene to introduce Vox's hypnosis powers when they really have no reason to. Like, why would he just hypnotize this random group of reporters other than to just introduce, oh, he has hypnosis powers? And
That's also another ability we can count as almost never being used again.
yeah. Oh,
It's used
it's used again
twice the whole
later.
show, isn't it?
Oh, it's used again later, just in a way.
It's only like twice the whole show, though, right?
I don't know. I mean, if you want to count every individual person, I would say, yeah, that's like a lot of people, but actually use in a way where it's relevant to the plot, probably once, I think. But
He
that's
can,
insane.
he can probably use it on Charlie like several times.
Oh, yeah. And also, once again, back to the whole we gotta murder Alistair thing. Why does he just like, oh, hey, this random follower of mine, how about I remotely hypnotize you? Because that's something we literally see him do with, everyone's looking at the Vox Tech phone and they're like, ooh, like you could hypnotize people remotely and have them go to the hotel and try to kill Alistair. Like seriously, what the fuck? You have all this resources at your disposal, and if Vox is worried that it will trace back to them, there's literally no way that they can't because outside of their eyes, clearly being like red spirals, not, I don't think the other residents of the hotel outside, maybe Angel and Alistair catching on. But even then, they could just like, hey, these group of people, hypnotize them, have them take out Angel or like kidnap him, so that way he can't tell the other residents what's going on, and then have everyone else be like, not necessarily like disposable meat bags, but like send them as a horde to overwhelm Alistair. Boom.
Yeah. It's and that also raises a question for me that also carries over into Vox's only other appearance this season in episode 8. It's like, why does Vox give a shit about Charlie in the hotel besides Alistair being there?
It's the main character, you see. We gotta have the main villain be obsessed with our main character somehow.
I I don't know why he like actually cares up until the point that like later in season 2 where she is directly against his goals. I don't know why he's obsessed with her before that. It seems completely like pointless, and you also like don't see him take the same level of interest in other random people that have no relevance to him. They literally kick someone out.
Yeah. It's, yeah, and so do we even go over Velvet and Valentino's introductions? It's literally just introducing, these are characters that exist. Here's their basic traits and whatnot. Also, Valentino owns Angel's soul.
Oh, well, I mean, their introductions are just very big throwaways, in my opinion. This is just more so a nitpick for me, but I really don't like Velvet's design being like this like social media influencer kind of dresser. If she was instead more so like a Devil Wears Prada kind of had a more Devil Wears Prada kind of design, I think I would like her character, like just like her dynamic a bit more because she kind of would fit in with the whole like V thing with like Vox and Valentino, who are pretty well dressed for their positions. But
Yeah.
outside,
I
but yeah,
definitely see that.
yeah.
Honestly, I get it. I agree. Although,
Yeah.
however, have you considered it's really funny to have a design where you can be like, I bet she cosplays as Monster High characters in her free time. God, I love making that joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she probably could have had like a more formal and elegant design similar to Valentino and Vox. She really is kind of an outlier compared to
Yeah.
how literally everyone in V Tower dresses.
Oh, but we need to flex our animation by showing how many outfits she has.
Speaking of outfits, once again, snapping bullshit. She snaps her fingers and magically someone has different clothes. I know that's like not a big deal of an ability at Alistair snapping his fingers and teleporting people to his location, but imagine how useful that could be for literally disguising somebody. Like they could send Serpentius, boom, disguised, and okay, well now he can infiltrate a little bit better Like, come on.
Yeah.
But our characters are supposed to be dumb. Why would they ever think of that? Even though
Yeah,
they're portrayed as
exactly.
being smart.
Like I said, Hazbin Hotel is literally the Grant Paulson's review of Revenge of the Sith. Every character is fucking stupid.
You know what? Hazbin Hotel just like straight up is obsessed with the unfortunate write-in trope, and this is recognized as an industry flaw that everybody's trying to fix. Where you introduce this mastermind, right? And because they're canonically smarter than you don't know how the fuck to actually write them being smart. You see this with Vox, Valentino, literally season 2 Charlie, uh, the entirety of Heaven, and then even to a lesser extent Husk, and actually to a very significant extent Rosie and Alistair.
Yeah. The show is so obsessed with having, oh, this character is so smart, without actually having the writing to back up them being so smart.
Yeah, they're on average either like slightly smarter than Charlie or significantly dumber. I personally struggle to figure out who's the dumber person, Alistair or Charlie.
And oh, Alistair is borderline brain dead at a point.
Both of them are. It it's painful. It's like trying to compare a blobfish to like a mud kip.
Yeah, like I'm gonna get into it later, but I also really hate Alistair. Like he's so poorly written in this show. Like, and there are times where he actually can be smart, and he just chooses not to.
Yeah, that's like I'll say like one highlight episode that they really do showcase his intelligence is season 2 episode 4. But like the rest of the show has him doing none of those good, social skills. There's even also him using the egg boys to infiltrate that meeting.
Oh, well, keep in mind, that happens unintentionally. He didn't even do that purposely. One of them just got lucky enough to go with Alistair and was able to be a very good asset just by chance.
Oh yeah, I know that's true. He did tell them all to wait outside.
So he got extremely lucky, bro. His luck stat was off the charts.
Yeah, that is really lucky on Alistair's part, because without that, he would have a much harder time finding out about the whole Exorcist thing, and the whole thing is built off of a completely like broken and contrived premise. But we'll get to that when we talk about episode 3.
Uh,
So, so then we so then we get Stayed Gone, and this is our first like genuinely pretty good song of the season so far. Like,
very, very technical, very impressive song, and actually bothers to, it properly fleshes out Alistair's and Vox's history implications and their chemistry together. It is genuinely great.
yeah.
You think the rest of the season will stay on that standard?
I think so. I think so, actually. It'll happen, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. But yeah, Stay Gone, very good song. The ending specifically, I really do like. I really like that a lot. Shows how badass Alistair is. Too bad we never see that ever again.
Fuck!
Well,
We do.
sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry that that badassery that was hinted at us is never like properly shown.
Yeah.
All flair and
The
nothing.
only aura farming Alistair ever is allowed to have is when he's interacting with Vox, I swear. It's annoying.
Yeah, and so I already mentioned how Vox caring so much about about Charlie in the hotel makes no sense. So then we get a Charlie Vaggy subplot where we don't even see because it's that unimportant. Where they're trying to recruit people and they get absolutely no one, and that's when Serpentia shows up. And apparently between Alistair leaving to go after fighting Serpentius to go to the tailors and Serpentius arriving was 6 hours, which I do not buy.
What the fuck? No way.
I didn't even think about it.
Wait, did they really say that?
Yeah, Angel says like, "Oh, this guy just tried to attack us 6 hours ago."
It was like 10 minutes ago, bro. What?
Yeah, which also means this is the one problem I have visually with Stay Gone. Vox got all those news reports and whatnot within hours.
Which is absolutely insane. Like a 6 hour rap battle, bro. um, but yeah, so Pentious shows up, and also before we even go into like the shitty plan that is Pentious, or I guess like everything else that happens, I gotta say, Vaggy being the one to come up with the idea that, oh wait, they might be desperate enough to escape the extermination. I just gotta say, it's like there are points in this series where Vaggy has more agency to do better for the hotel than Charlie does. So I kind of have to wonder what the fuck is Charlie's purpose if she cannot think about these things.
Oh, we'll get into how little agency Charlie has in their own show
Yeah,
in a
we'll
little
we'll
bit.
get into that. Like a big structural thing that I personally have with the show is that Charlie's the main protagonist, but she has absolutely nothing really to do with the show as a whole. The only reason she's like the whole straw that she's built on that lets her be the main protagonist is that she's the only character that thematically can be the protagonist. If you completely removed her entire redemption agency like theme, basically anyone would be a better fit.
I don't even agree with that. Just fucking make Angel Dust the protagonist.
Yeah, like Angel Dust, Pentious, and Husk are all significantly better potential. Unfortunately, the whole premise is built around something only Charlie can provide, but they never give her chances to do it.
Yep. You know what they do give her chances to do, though? Be incredibly fucking insensitive to Angel twice. And
Oh
and
man.
Char- and so yeah, so we get Charlie introducing Serpentius to everyone at the hotel, and Charlie's like, "Oh, I'm so excited to have our first real guest," and Angel's like, "So what the hell am I doing here?" And Charlie just basically shrugs it off. It's like, "Oh, I'm just glad someone actually cares about what we're doing."
Yeah, but it's like even if like I understand Charlie saying, well, yeah, you don't really give a shit about that. Charlie, you can have the fucking decency to act like you care. Cause hold on. It's fucking hot in this bitch ass room I'm in. Holy shit. Alright, here I am. Like when she says that, I just kind of wonder, well, what does Angel even do then? Like, what do you see him as? Like, I get Angel isn't too helpful, but the bare minimum you can do is celebrate Angel because eventually they end up like throwing this little party for Serpentius. Like, I'm so glad that you're here, blah blah blah. And it's like, why didn't you do the same for Angel? Like, he's literally your first guest. I know he only did it to live in a place for rent free, but at the same time, it's kind of just like,
I actually think that's like a larger issue with Charlie. I don't think it's a Angel issue. In general, this show really likes to portray Charlie as empathetic and stuff, right? And caring about everyone. But they never really show her committed to making sure anyone actually has a good life. The only person she ever puts that much effort into is Penchus. She doesn't even do that for her own girlfriend.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Charlie is just we're gonna bring this up later when we talk about the characters, but Charlie's just an incredibly weak protagonist in so many ways.
Yeah, we're gonna tear into her because a lot of the things that make a because you have the emotional satisfaction level of why would they really want to tolerate her, because you can have an unlikable protagonist, but there's still got to be a reason why they want them to succeed in some way, and mostly what the show really does for that is that, oh well, she's anti-genocide. uh okay, but like anything else.
Yeah, and you can write unlikable protagonists. You just have to write them well. Look at fucking Mari Supreme. Marty Mauser is an incredibly
Obsession with Baron.
yeah. Mari Supreme and Obsession. Marty and Bear are completely unlikable protagonists, but they're written so well that
Baron
you
is
are
borderline evil.
yeah.
But like Obsession does a really good job actually wanting me, because his situation is so fucked. I do want him to get out of there so that he can become a better person.
Yeah.
And then Charlie doesn't have that same kind of dynamic. She's just insufferable. Oh, she's anti-genocide. But what's stopping me from assuming some other unknown character is also anti-extermination? Lots of characters don't like the extermination in the show. Most of them don't. So
Yeah.
why am I rooting for her? Is it because she's the only one who actively puts effort into? Well, I guarantee you I would have had more fun with Penchus or Angel if they took on the same Charlie role.
Yeah. And it's to a point where the show treats Angel and Penchus like the main characters.
Oh yeah, no, they have like probably the most screen time uh of season 1, and then Angel also, no, I would say it does change in season 2 where Charlie does have more screen time than Angel, but they're pretty tied.
Yeah. Anyways, back on track. So then Charlie puts on a little play with Angel and Penchus where she makes Angel someone with where she makes a person with pretty well known drug issues play a crackhead.
I'm a very bad man who never got enough hugs. Where's an innocent kid I can sell crack to? Who wrote this?
Yeah.
Admittedly, a really funny line.
Yeah.
I found it pretty funny. I found
It's
I
probably
will
my favorite joke of the entirety of season 1. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I do want to point out though is that even though it is a funny joke, it kind of makes me once again not really care about Charlie because once again she is incompetent. I'm not expecting her to be a fucking master script writer, but the bare minimum she could do is at least create some kind of material for these people to act for. Like I get that they're not taking it seriously, but the dialogue that she gives them is just super basic. Like you'd expect someone who's like this hell-bent on this goal to take like proper precaution in figuring out how to like write out a scenario for this commercial, or at least that she would prepare it better, you know? Because overall it just comes off very sloppy. And this ends up happening later when Penchit, like the next episode, I think, and Angel and Penchit are like acting. It's like, why is this so cliche and just goofy and shit? Like, I can't stand watching these characters read out this shitty dialogue because even though it's super funny, it just makes Charlie look like a fucking dork. And it's like, dude, if you're going to sell this idea, then put your gusto into it. Like, goddamn, why? Like, I want to believe that this is her passion. I want to believe that Charlie gives a fuck, but I can't buy it if this is the kind of shit she's gonna have her residents do. I get that not all of them are on board with it, but you can at least show that you have effort. Like Angel is a porn star, yes, but like he is an actor, and I'm pretty sure you could have him help out with the dialogue.
Yeah. We later see in episode 4 he's literally an award-winning actor.
Yeah, he also throughout the show does display legitimate acting capabilities, even though he's in the sex industry instead, where there's not a whole lot effort put into that. Because a big way that he's able to stay safe in the world of Hazbin that really has it out for him is his acting capabilities. And it's wild to me that Charlie, who the show really wants you to believe is best friends with Angel Dust, does not recognize that.
Yeah. And so, anyway, so then we get an actually pretty solid scene with Angel on his own where he gets like 50 voice messages from Val, and it's like genuinely like pretty decent setup for their dynamic, which we see later on, obviously. And then we get Angel finding out that Serpentius was the mole for the V's, which I just have to wonder why Serpentius waited until now to start doing this. Like, but that's honestly like kind of a small issue. So,
I would just personally defend it with Pinchas is actually kind of an idiot outside of his, engineering capabilities.
yeah, and and that and then Angel finds it out, reveals it to Charlie and Vaggie. Vox gets found out and basically pulls a low tier god on Penchus, and then we get it starts with. And then we get It Starts with Sorry, which is another like whatever
Oh
song.
god. I have seen so many clips of that song being used.
So anyways, so yeah, and, and then
Yeah, that gag aside, moving on.
yeah, so but anyways, It Starts with Sorry is a pretty whatever song. It's just really funny to think about when you think about the theme of the show, which we will get into.
Yeah.
And then we end the episode with more Alistair Vox sequel bait that goes nowhere this season. So,
They do pay it off pretty frequently in season 2 though, which is nice.
yeah, and that is
Even Luke.
yeah, and so that is episode 2, which I would say it's definitely better than episode 1, but it's still just sort of a whatever episode.
It doesn't accomplish a whole lot. It really doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, but don't worry. Excuse me. But don't worry. Episode 3 does do a whole lot. The only problem is it's fucking shit. Yeah, I'm not even gonna hide it. Episode 3 is probably like tied for the worst episode in the season.
In the whole show, I'm still gonna stay on my stance. Behind closed doors, episode 3 of season 2 is.
Yeah. So automatically, this episode we're already in pretty deep shit. So we missed the entire first week of Penchus being there. Like start episode 2, end episode 2, start episode 3. It's already been a week.
Oh yeah, holy shit. That whole time skipping thing that the show goes with, I don't fully mind it because you can do a time skip well. But I feel like for something about the show about redemption, I think it's better that it's outright just shown the process to us. instead of it just being said that it happened.
And
Because
the show has so many time skips. Like I said, the timeline is not clear at all, even if you're paying attention.
very, and I just feel like the worst part about that for me is just the fact that I can't buy Serpentius is a good character because I don't get to see him be a character until the next fucking season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's mostly carried by season 2, honestly. Like, rewatching season 1, I really just thought of Penchus as whatever, while Angel was more of a standout outside of those first 3 episodes. But we will get to that. We'll eventually get to compliment Angel Dust.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And the thing is, I do believe that whatchamacallit, Penchus is a great character, but the thing is that there's just a lack of us being shown of that because of the time skips. So it kind of makes me wonder, a good character in Hazbin Hotel is a character that you don't see, properly do what do what a good character is supposed to do.
Yeah,
Like you
we've joked about this before, but really, somehow the best characters in the show, outside of like Angel Dust or season 2 Penchus, are when they're just not being characterized at all.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the actual plot of the episode. It starts off really slow and like nothing happens. Serpentius gets a weapon from Carmilla Carmine, who we're told is a really powerful overlord, which I will get to my thoughts later in the episode. And so as part and so Vaggy's basically like, okay, if you want to be here, you got to get rid of all this. And for some reason, she asks him to get rid of the egg boys, even though they don't do anything wrong besides accidentally shooting the hole in the roof. Which is what I was saying earlier. Like the whole plot, which leads to the Alistair plot of the episode, is super contrived. Like, why do they have to get rid of the egg boys?
Oh no, it seems like nobody really wants to tolerate them mostly.
Yeah.
And they're too destructive for the hotel itself. So, like, even though Alistair finds genuine use from them, he doesn't care for it.
Yeah. And so Vaggy sort of dumps the egg boys onto Alistair, who's going out to do something today, which we later find out. And so Charlie and Vaggy spend the day doing trust exercises with the group, which I feel like could work as character development, except a huge part of it happens off screen. So and so, and so
A lot of
and
those trust exercises are just completely irrelevant to what they want to accomplish, though. Oh my gosh, they are terrible. Some of them are also just shit advice.
Yeah, it's another like pointless subplot to fill out the episode.
How do you trust your partner better? Let's risk face planting on the floor. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, and that's not even the worst one, but we'll get into it.
Yay, pain!
Yeah.
I'm sorry, fucking nifty, man.
Yeah. And so Charlie actually makes Vaggy be the leader of the trust exercises, even though Vaggy is clearly like sort of caught off guard and not comfortable with being the leader of it. But then she's completely 180. She's like, no, I'll do it. It's fine.
No. You see, a good relationship is when peer pressure is the way to get your partner to do things.
True. That is. And so there are two funny bits in this part. One is right before Angel goes up, where Vaggy's like, "Oh, you all need to help this time unless you want me to hurt you," which I don't know why Vaggy would just casually say she wants to hurt the other guests. And
Actually, on the pressure thing, I do want to mention it's funny we joke about that since season 2 makes it into an entire Valentino and Vox subplot on highlighting why peer pressure is bad. This show and its fucking themes not being able to make up its mind on what its opinion are, man.
yeah, yeah. And so, anyways, and then we get the part of the episode where they drop 50 characters on us. So we're introduced to Zestial, another overlord in hell, who's apparently like pretty close to Alistair, and then we later meet a bunch of other overlords at the mean, which they're seat fillers. They serve literally no purpose right now. They don't even have
Steel will
names.
never have a purpose other than making sure Carmilla doesn't her shit. That's all. That's all he'll ever do.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. And one shot in this scene where he like flexes his full body to Alistair for no reason other than to fucking aura farm, I guess.
Bro, Zestial has so much aura. I would have had fun watching him beat a motherfucker's ass.
The thing with, I mean, he must have quite the reputation to have people literally burning themselves alive when they see him.
Yeah. Zestial like actually has aura, and the show will refuse to bank on it. They're too busy with Alistair.
Yeah. And and already in this scene there are a couple of things worth pointing out. First of all, we see this cactus looking guy who's like super afraid of Alistair and Zestial, even though we find out in season 2 that person is an overlord as well. So
I still forgot that person even existed.
yeah. Yeah. And Zestial like asks where Alistair's been with extra steps, and he suggests thought that Alistair fell into holy arms, which is a neat line when you first read it, but now that we know all the context in season 2, makes no sense for him to have said.
God, we'd have to put a whole segment of us just attacking the continuity of the show. Both of like Hell of a Boss and season 1 and 2 existing together.
Yeah. And so Alistair makes all the egg boys way outside, like you said, except one of them, Frank, actually accidentally ends up going with them, and neither Alistair or Zestial notice somehow.
And none of the other.
Are they really that stealthy, man? They're known to be so loud.
Yeah, and it's quite convenient that this one just didn't fucking ramble on like his brethren.
Maybe he was scared. He did say it was like really scary experience.
I guess so. But even
Also,
then,
how did Alistair and Zestial literally not notice him when he was banging on the glass?
no, you see, they're not.
Wait a minute, we have names?
They're non-existent conversation deafened their ears.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
Something I find funny, like, is where we're introduced to all the no-name overlords. So one of them is Rosie for some reason, even though she says and does nothing in a later episode this season is her actual introduction. So it's like, what? Why the fuck is she even there?
Also, I know this isn't a big deal, but big ass gigantic fucking overlord furry. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Top 10 character in the show. 10 out of 10. Best friend.
While we're derailing a little bit, I do want to make the joke real quick because I find it really funny. Somehow the Egg Boys are put more effort into having names at all than most of the overlords.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But to make sure we don't lose track. So we
Yeah.
do enter the scene, right? We have the meeting. Carmilla introduces herself, badass and all. And she's like, "Oh, everyone's here," and then she's like, "Oh, Alistair, you're here," in like a very disdain voice, and mostly a nitpick for me, or I guess maybe a problem with the show. I'm not quite sure, but my issue is like, why doesn't that many people, or I guess why don't many of the overlords actually give a fuck about where Alistair's been outside of the Vox, you know? Because this is one of the most powerful overlords, and even if they don't like him as a person, considering how many souls he must own to equate it all together for them to all have a million, or at least millions of souls, it kind of makes you wonder, like, where's Alistair, you know? And to have him back should be a big deal, but I really don't like the fact that it's not treated much as a big deal. And it just kind of makes me feel like Alistair is just not really shafted, but he's made less important because of just like how, in the way, not only the show writes him, but also in how other characters treat him. Like he doesn't feel like a big deal whatsoever, even though he's established to be the most threatening sinner of all. Like I
Yeah.
can't buy it with the way that they treat him, and especially in that scene. And I also just don't like how Alistair's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you were talking about me." Like I expect Vox to be like that, but Alistair acting like a needy bitch and visibly getting upset when Carmilla's like, "Oh, I don't really give a fuck." It's just like, are we writing the same character here? That sounds more like Vox than Alistair to me.
Actually, there, I always read him as being very sassy and sarcastic because he says it with his normal bored voice. Oh, I'm so glad you were talking about me. And it's more so probably to hide his malicious intentions. But like we said, the Egg Boys thing, like, I'm confused because there are hints that he meant for Frank to be in there, but there's also the very explicit confirmation that he just did not. So that in of itself is confusing as hell. And I would definitely agree that I find it to be an issue because the moment other overlords disappear in a show like Arcane, it actually has consequences. And it's not even just that, like, to the general public, Alistair isn't important. The street loves him. Even in the same episode, as he's going on this errand, everybody's talking to him and glazing him, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're back!" But the moment he gets into the meeting, nobody's like, "Wait, where the hell have you been for the past 7 fucking years?"
Yeah, it's very topsy turvy with the way they handle that. And speaking of handling things,
Oh no, I had a point before that. So
oh,
this also kind of relates to handling things though. So I find myself very confused on how hell actually treats the extermination because sometimes they talk about like, oh, this is a big deal, we have to stop, but most of the times they treat it like, oh yeah, the extermination's coming up, whatever, we gotta deal with this, d- like, oh, just casually worrying about the mass genocide, okay.
I feel like it's been something they've like slowly grown to accept over time as a matter of fact thing. So they try to really convince themselves they don't care much about it. Granted, there are also the people that don't really have any friends, and so long as they don't get exterminated, they don't care about the extermination itself. But you also have the whole slew of characters we see throughout that are very disturbed by it and really don't want to accept it, but try to anyway. And then, of course, you have Charlie, who just refuses to.
Yeah, and I wish we actually got to see that in the show. Like you said, a lot of shit is just up to inference instead of actually being explained or shown.
Yeah, and I think that's largely done because as a new writer, she may not know how to, like, describe different things and show that, but that doesn't make it immune to criticism. You know, the whole reason why should point this out is so that, she can stop making that mistake.
Yeah, and and so then Velvet shows up and she reveals that the V's found the head of the dead exorcist, which I personally find it pretty funny that nobody found it before them, and that the V's went out of their way to find it.
Yeah, the exterminations like seem to like every time we're shown a flashback of an extermination, it is so out in the open. It's actually like usually in as much large area as possible of Hell's City, and somehow, right, this of all the dead sinners, this one dead angel, only Carmilla ever saw it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys were referring to the song, right? The musical number?
Oh no, we're getting there.
Oh, okay. I'm just itching for that scene, man. I can't fucking stand Velvet. And no hate to her,
Respectless.
yeah, no hate to her actress, but when we do get there, I really don't know if this was like something she was told to do, but I don't like how they instructed her to use her voice.
Yeah.
No, I would absolutely say it is 100% intentional. Just how vocally insufferable Velvet is, because it hammers home the point that this show really likes to highlight. He sucks. Like, she's terrible. She's that one bitch who thinks she's all that you went to high school with, and I think that is intentional the way she sounds and speaks.
Yeah, it still has to make her good. And so I also find it both really lucky and really stupid that none of the overlords except Velvet and Alistair are suspicious of Carmilla. Like she's completely like openly denying any involvement. Like that's sus as fuck. I would be pointing that out.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, a season one isolated, I wouldn't. I would probably write it off and not find it too unbelievable. But the moment season two comes around and makes a big point that like everyone probably absolutely meant season one's finale to go down the way it does, I'm like, then Hell would probably also interpret that Carmilla was involved.
Yeah.
Like, you would assume the general public has the same approach to opinions across all, actors, right? Their mindset would not change between who it is. 1 plus 1 still equals 2, regardless of who the one is.
Yeah. So then we get Respectless, and it's not good.
Yeah,
It's
no, fuck it. I hate compared to the startup of most songs, I've never instantly covered my ears so quick in my goddamn life. Like, holy shit, man. As soon as I heard that, you better show some respect, I was like, oh, fuck off, man. Like, I don't mind with songs coming out of nowhere, but just in Carmilla's case, it's just like, god damn, you don't need to sing about this shit. You guys can have a whole argument, but just don't sing it out.
I
It's so.
think the thing is, right, with how intros is, uh, it's not so an actual music structure issue in of itself, but there is this musical trope in general where people be speaking 1 minute and then out of nowhere, without any proper build up to the audience, they'll get whiplashed with sudden high notes. Right? I feel like in general, Hazbin Hotel really does like to take inspiration from all of the bad tropes we see from Disney musicals.
Mm.
Yeah. My
So
problem with Respectless is that it's just not a song. It could have just been dialogue.
yeah,
Like it reads like dialogue, and it has no actual like lyrical quality to it.
Yeah, and the lyrics. Jesus Christ,
I
man.
think it's done because typically more flashy moments within this medium, musicals, is put as musical numbers, and this is a very flashy argument. You know, especially with Velvet being the over the top character she is. But I think the confusing part you could make the case for is why is it that Carmilla starts the song, right? When she's a more subdued character.
Yeah, and intentional or not, Velvet's lines in this song are terrible. Like, but I'm that hashtag bitch. You're long past trending. Sorry, but I ain't swiping right. Like,
Yeah, the flow, like there are some like genuine structural weird flows with Velvet's lyrics in this song, and it's not something that consistently happens throughout the show, especially not season 2, which, as I've said before, is critically consensused by people who know Broadway as Broadway level music production and everything. I don't know why Velvet's fuck ass lyrics are structured the way they are in Respectless. It's not a has been thing. It's a weird slip up.
yeah,
Very much so.
yeah, and so that, and also it just, and also Velvet has a really funny line where she says that she's the backbone of the V's, which just right now she barely does anything in the rest of the show so far. So that's really funny that they included that line just to never follow up on it.
It's funnier in the context of season 2 that she says that too, because Vox has an entire scene where he's like, I let you go to the one meeting I didn't attend, and you still somehow fucked it up. Like, I'm the backbone of the V's, but I make the most mistakes that everybody gets pissed off at. Makes no sense. You fucking egotistical bitch.
Yeah, also, how the hell are you the fucking backbone when you are comparing yourself to the guy who literally owns all the tech in the verse? What are we talking about, G? It's like
the
saying,
most she does is like she handles the promotional stuff, but Vox himself also kind of does that. Like mostly, I guess she's is if Elon had an assistant for Twitter promotion. I don't know, like, bro,
yeah,
Yeah,
you're not the backbone. Sit the
it,
fuck down.
it is absolutely like the goofiest shit ever. And her saying like you're half past trending, like bro, we're talking about the weapons dealer and someone who has so much aura people kill themselves in his
She
wake.
has currently the most Overlord influence throughout season 1. Vox isn't even to her level yet. You're way past trending. Motherfucker, she's the most socially and politically influential Overlord that the show portrays in this moment. And you're not even the most influential V member. Fuck off.
yeah. Anyway, so after Respectless, we cut back to the hotel crew, and we get a really, I'm doing air quotes, funny scene of Angel being a sex pest and taking them to a BDSM lounge. And so,
Yes, there's no bond that I forgot the quote or whatever the catchphrase is, but there's no bond that requires more trust than the likes of bondage or something.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what we mentioned earlier. The throwaway line of inherent sexual context equal funny is just not the way to do it. It is shallow. It is childish, and not childish in a way that really fits within the universe. It's not nifty. It's not Vox. There is legitimate infantile humor present in the show, and then Angel just feels wrong. Honestly, how Angel like portrays his jokes is very in line with what I remember Hell boss approaching with.
Yeah. So Vaggie also completely changes her tune in this scene. She's like, no, I told you you could trust me. I'm not gonna let you down. Which like that's like I get that she's feeling insecure, but you could have set that up better, maybe.
What setup?
Yeah. And and then Vaggie proceeds to show everyone how she learned to trust people, which is in an active war zone. Which there are multiple moments like that, but right here, I'd be like, how did you learn to trust people exactly? Because Vaggie has a huge secret, and and, there are multiple points where people should have stopped and asked, like, wait, what are you talking about?
Babe, where did your angel spear come from?
Yeah. It seems every character so stupid that they never ask, hey Vaggie, why do you have an angelic spear as your weapon?
No, it's wild because like the show does make it clear that Charlie does know what angel weapons look like and what they are. Doesn't say a fucking word about her spear though.
Yeah. And then we get a bit of conflict between Charlie and Vaggie that just feels kind of spontaneous and manufactured.
It feels so fucking forced. I hate this. I fucking hate Shaggy. Every time they have to fight, it's because of some bullshit that's contrived out of like shit that neither of them would think, say, or do.
Yeah. Okay. And now we find out that Carmilla is the one that killed the angel, and we get whatever it takes. And this is where I'm gonna go on my rant. So, buckle in here. I stand to reason that Carmilla Carmine is the worst character in season 1, if not the show. Carmilla is a horrible fucking character. She's lit. I compared this to you guys before, but Carmilla is literally the same writing as Edge of Time Peter Parker, where she's literally willing to let everyone else die just to protect her loved ones.
And like you said, the show really does want her to be a morally gray character. However, she's actively doing like some of the most immoral stuff on the show.
Yeah, and she explicitly says in Whatever It Takes that she doesn't want to get involved in the heaven hell conflict because she wants her hands clean. She doesn't want blood on her hands. It's like, you're an arms dealer in hell. What do you mean
You're an arms dealer in hell, and then also you're going to deliberately take measures to prevent the genocide, which will be more blood on your hands.
Oh, guys, she can't possibly want blood on her hands because you see she has children. She has children.
Shit, you right, my bad.
I gotta compare. I gotta bring in my goat Kratos, but it's like bloodshed is bloodshed, okay? Like if you gotta do what you gotta do for like your business or whatever, then just do it, okay? Like if she's so concerned with bloodshed, then bitch, pivot to something else. Like for crying out, you
Yeah,
don't
so
want
she doesn't want.
like, oh shit, my bad. Yeah, but if you don't want to make weapons anymore, then like ask Vox or Valentino if you could like be part of the porn industry or something. Like I don't fucking know anything, literally anything.
Yeah,
But
here's my thing. Like, okay, so she doesn't want blood on her hands. She's an arms dealer. Why doesn't the show make it more believable by exploring why she's an arms dealer? Why does she do this if this is her defining character trait? Why? Fuck you. You don't get to know.
Yeah, because Carmilla is not a character. She's a living plot device.
It's so frustrating how many of the characters are plot devices, though.
Yeah. And all this is topped off by the fact that whatever it takes is a shit song. Like I know Daphne Rubin Vega's a great singer. Like she's in the Heights, and I love her in the Heights. But here her singing voice as Carmilla, at least in this song, is just off.
Yeah, her main good standout performance as Carmilla is in fact uh Out for Love.
Yeah. And so, and we also shoehorn in this like half-assed Vaggie part of the song when realistically Vaggie should have her own song. It's been 2 seasons and Vaggie does not have her own solo song.
Yeah, that was something I joked about before. Very few characters actually get solo songs. Most of them are extras in some sort of multi-actor song.
Yeah. So,
Charlie herself only has one solo.
yeah. So and so then and so after that's all over, we get more damage to Alistair's character. And so he decides to not tell everyone the Exorcist can be killed just because he's so quirky and mysterious and for the sake of the plot. And B, he just lets the Egg Boys go back to Penchus even though they know that the Exorcist can be killed and and he cannot trust them to not spill the beans to everyone, which Frank proceeds to do. He should not be letting the Egg Boys out of his fucking sight.
Yeah, that's a big thing too, is that Alistair often neglects to do things, but they refuse to characterize why he would particularly have the motivation. So you're left thinking he's stupid because you don't have the justification as to why he would do it. You neither have a reason why he wouldn't do it and or why he would do that thing. What is left is that the audience often just is getting frustrated that it's not what he should do without a reason why he's not doing it.
Yeah. And so then we cut back and Charlie and Vaggie make up almost immediately because we can't have long-standing tension between characters in this show. So,
Oh, don't worry. They'll fight again, but we'll get to that later.
yeah. And we see the rest of the group has recovered from their day of trust exercises and whatnot, which seems like nice character development. It's unfortunate that we don't actually get to see most of it. It's, and and then there's also the fact that Charlie and Vaggie and the rest are not suspicious of Alistair, saying like how useful the Egg Boys are. Like you think they would inquire at least a little bit as to why, but they just don't.
They don't. They don't need to. Even though Charlie gets super uptight about, or at least Vaggie. Charlie is, you know how Charlie is. She's fucking passive. But at least Vaggie, she gets super uptight when Sir Pentious is like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy some weapons." But here, when Alistair is clearly hiding something, it's like, "Oh, well, I'm glad your hoe ass is back." It's like, what? No, do something. Like,
Yeah.
why aren't you fucking curious? Find out. Even if you know he's not gonna tell you, then do some inside work. Like, goddamn.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's episode 3. Absolutely terrible. Easily the worst episode of the show so far. And it's not even the worst episode of this season. But thankfully, we go from one of the worst episodes to arguably the best episode in the show.
In the show. Oh, Masquerade's great.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over my notes real quick, because Lion, most of this is gonna be you since you're the expert on Angel and whatnot. And so I will say, first of all, there's another time skip that they mentioned. Like Charlie mentions, oh Angel, we don't have much time left to prove the hotel works, which means that there's a huge time skip that we just never see. And so, and also Charlie does not know Valentino's reputation. Even if she doesn't know that he's abusive to Angel, she should know how he treats other people, at least.
No background knowledge either.
Yeah, and I assume I'm okay with her fucking up, getting Angel in trouble, but it's never followed up on. The reason, she thinks she just made Angel mad, not that she got him heavily abused is the reason, in whatnot, and it's just never accounted for. And so yeah. And so yeah, Lion, if you want to cover the Val and Angel stuff and Poison, then yeah.
Yeah, so not really a whole lot happens throughout the episode up until we actually see Angel go to work, and then the whole Charlie thing. So, as we've said, really, Angel hasn't been given much to work with, but this is where we actually bother giving him some depth. So, a big thing that is shown as being particularly brutal about Valentino's workplace is that he really doesn't want to be disturbed. Everybody else has to keep nuisances out, such as Charlie. It is Angel's job to ensure that if Charlie were to be here, especially since they're friends, that she does not ruin production. And so, as Charlie decides to lash out at Valentino, after Angel had previously... So the first infraction really was that Angel failed to get her out soon enough. And the second infraction is that, how dare you let Charlie come in here and speak to me like that? So Val arranges a more brutal shoot than usual, as the show implies.
Yeah, and also multiple moments of physical abuse as well.
Yeah, it's also a particularly more violent fetish shoot than the show has previously hinted at with his filmography. He certainly does do a lot of extreme hardcore stuff and does involve roughness, but it's not usually as violent, it seems, as what we get throughout the entire Poison segment. So what Poison really talks about is Angel knows and acknowledges that his situation is not okay. He knows that it's detrimental to his health and that he really never wants to go to work. On one side, Angel genuinely does enjoy working in the sex industry because, one, he does like the high that he gets off of the sex tracks themselves. Two, he certainly also enjoys being watched doing it, as it's a medal he can wear. And this is a thing that lots of men and women do enjoy about doing porn. But the thing is that despite the fact he understands that that is an issue, ultimately he cannot leave. He does not have a backup platform, and it's really hard to make it in this industry, especially with the V's control over the media. So that's one incentive for him to stay. But there's also Val's constant gaslighting and manipulation of really making sure that it's as appealing as possible, but he's also in control of Angel's agency. One of the ways he does this is the physical drug that his body produces, that as a previous drug addict, which Valentino knows. Valentino, as part of their contract, knows everything about Angel's past. He's hooked on. He loves that drug. So Valentino is willing to provide his natural drug so long as Angel stays in line, and he'll also keep that platform. So, there's that incentive. But there's also another layer that common in people, when they're having such a really bad life, they don't know how to get a better one, because naturally we understand that without the bad things, the good things don't feel as impactful. So when someone is in such a low point, like Angel is here, where he's emotionally, sexually, and physically abused every single day, unless he behaves, and even his friends can be put in danger, because his life as it is so low, every single sexual moment that he enjoys, every single promotional work, every single drug usage, all that is significantly more satisfying to him than when he's usually at the hotel. He is consistently bored at the hotel because I read it as it really does seem to feel hinted at, though admittedly they're not actually trying to characterize this. It's just kind of a proxy, side effect interpretation you can make. He is really bored at the hotel because there's not really any sort of risk versus reward thing, right? Think of like when a child converts to homeschool and they can just simply get their work done and they can go back to, doing whatever they want to do for the day, or when they don't have chores. People do tend to get bored or feel dissatisfaction in the fun things because they didn't have to work for it. And so what Angel really sees is, one, because of all of this abuse, he's not really worth being redeemed. And two, even if he were to take that path, what is that point? He not only does he not understand what the satisfaction in that could be, but he would have no idea where to start. And that is truly scary for him. And it's a lot of things. Like, even Obsession itself, the recent movie, that shows the same sort of behavior in people. Generally, when you're in such a traumatic situation, it's really hard to escape because it's hard to imagine otherwise. Especially when Angel has been in for hell so long and he got here for murder. It's hard for him to imagine deserving better. And Valentino the whole time, and Vox, as shown later in season 2, helps put it in his idea in his head that he's right. He doesn't deserve any better, so he accepts it. Because it would be easier to accept all of this, gaslighting and all of the unfortunate, like, truly fucked shit happening to him. It would be easier to accept that and live around that than it would be to change, to get himself out. And as we will discuss later on, by the time of episode 6, Husk will be the main catalyst for trying to get him out of that mindset.
Yeah. yeah, so that's a generally good breakdown of Angel's character, and then obviously we get Poison, which sort of like really puts all that into perspective, and really this is the episode that makes you care about Angel, and it does a really great job at that. And also that's also complemented by Angel's relationship with Husk, and their dynamic "Loser Baby" is another really great song, and so. And the reveal of Husk being a former overlord is genuinely pretty surprising and whatnot, and so there's really not much to talk about with Masquerade.
Yeah, it's just a filler episode that's centered around really good writing, and as the origin of how I would go through two routes. One, someone on the writing team, whether that be Viv or someone else, has experienced something similar in their life, or two, they cooperated with some psychologists. Now, I have not done the research to check if they have, right? Like we can say Daredevil season 3 actually did work with psychologists on creating the sociopathy of Dexter, but it is genuinely like really realistic, and it carries a lot of emotional weight because the type of person that Angel is definitely a large part of the demographic I've seen of this fandom, and they feel very seen by this episode. It's very progressive in ways that are important because there certainly wasn't stuff seen in a while that puts the effort that Masquerade does. But unfortunately, it's a filler episode that halts the plot from existing while doing a time skip.
Yeah, and the next episode does not get much better at that. So episode 5 opens with Charlie losing her shit because they only have a couple months left until the extermination, which immediately gets contradicted during her phone call, which we'll get to in a second. And also when Vaggie suggests Charlie call Lucifer, Charlie basically blames Lucifer for the exterminations happening, like they met and Lucifer just said go ahead and kill everyone.
Yeah, when it's like obviously that can't be the case. Even if Lucifer rejected it, the fuck is he gonna do with like multiple angels on his ass? Or like Seraphim? Like the fuck? Obviously he doesn't have a say in the situation. And the dumbest part is that I don't understand this line of dialogue, but when Lucifer is called, he's like, "Oh well, this has been forever. He hasn't called you in years." When in episode 1, it was clearly stated that she called him to establish a meeting with Adam, and then he called her back to say that the meeting was confirmed. So clearly, she called him not years ago, but pretty recently, as far as months are considered. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. That is clearly just the writers not paying attention to what they had in the prior episode.
No,
And
in
I don't
episode 1, that was Lucifer calling her, and this time it was her calling him.
no. Well, what I mean is that like Lucifer called her to say that she can meet up with someone in heaven, which would implicate the idea that Charlie did indeed call him to ask him if she could meet someone from heaven.
Yeah.
And then he called her back, which
Yeah.
is the events of episode 1. So at least for what him saying like, "Oh, it's been years since she called you," it's like, well, she didn't like call you that long ago as far as like episode 1 is considered. And just looking at the pilot, she clearly called Lucifer in between the week from the pilot that the pilot takes place which is loosely canon, but he's weird, to episode 1 of the show. So it's like, what do you mean in years? And also, if he's so excited to talk to her, then why the fuck didn't he stay on the phone with her longer in episode 1? Like, you clearly care about your daughter, so why aren't you trying to catch up with her in episode 1?
The
If he
show is
clearly
so
cares about-
torn on Lucifer and Charlie's status. Like
They-
they keep shoving it down our throats that Charlie has daddy issues, but we don't get to see any of it.
If anything,
Yeah.
it should just be more mommy issues, because clearly her mother was the one who pulled them apart. Like, I don't understand why Charlie says, "Oh, he said fuck everyone, so now everyone has to die." And it's like, well, no, your mom just kind of literally took you away from him when you were a child, and
Yeah,
you
I think
didn't
this
really
is
get to
like
know him because of your mom.
this is certainly like one of the examples where this show really fails to understand how like these real world issues work. So what's happening with Lucifer is Charlie really finds him to be a deadbeat who left, one, and then two, a bunch of different implications as like he's not even really tolerable to be around. And we understand those hints. The problem is that throughout this entire episode, they really do refuse to actually elaborate or show Lucifer and Charlie's like baggage. They do very well with showing Charlie having a hard time grappling with Lilith being gone, to the point that she's doing this whole Hazbin Hotel work thing so that maybe Lilith will be proud of her and come back and congratulate her and give that validation. And Lucifer is really definitely, it's not even just a Charlie intelligence thing, very much implied and portrayed to be a shit dad. But I mean, the most we really see throughout this episode is that he's less focused on trying to get Charlie happiness and beefing with Alistair instead. And then season 2, he ends up doing everything right, and then I don't know. Like, Lucifer feels inconsistent in the fact that he's supposed to be a shitty dad, but he can be a good dad on the flip of a dime with the right character dialogue from someone else telling him what to do. So it's really hard to buy that he's a deadbeat, because he clearly cares to an extent. In fact, it really does try to portray him as that he doesn't care, that he's tired of things, of family stuff. But the moment he's actually on screen, like, we don't see any of the, disassociation and apathy that Charlie seems to describe, and that could be an unreliable narrative. But Lucifer himself displays those depressed, distancing himself too. So it's probably not Charlie misrepresenting the picture. So even despite the fact that it very well may be true, it refuses to show us that for some reason. They do everything perfectly with Lilith and establishing very fair mommy issues with Charlie, but Lucifer, they just fucking scene and then they're fine. And that's not really kind of how tumultuous relationships work. Let alone, keep in mind, on like opposite sex interactions have their own issues and can escalate a lot worse too. Although it is considered like easier for a father to parent a daughter than a father to parent a son. I just don't get what it's really trying to do, because we don't see what it's trying to do. We only have hints of something to say rather than collectively saying something like, Masquerade does with with the sex industry, with sexual assault victims deflecting, and all of that, right? It's just kind of hints of what it is like to have a father like Lucifer, rather than actually trying to portray what it is like to be with Lucifer. Because the moment they actually fully go in on him interacting with Charlie, he's not too bad. He's not great. He's not good. But he's not as damaging as as Charlie just cutting him off. We don't understand why Charlie cut him off.
Yeah, and so and also we get a line that borderline breaks the timeline of the show, where how Charlie just said, "Oh, we have a couple months until the extermination happens," and then she then
Yeah.
says, like, Dad, I told you 5 months ago when I called you."
Now, I certainly get why, like, 5 months ago he didn't, like... And first off, Jesus Christ on the 5-month time skip in only 5 episodes. Especially with how inconsistent... It's not like each episode is a month. It's not like that. It's not that straightforward. Don't know why they don't do that. But, like, we very much do see that after Charlie cut off Lucifer, he is depressed. So it makes sense that he's too guilty, he's too in his own head to actually answer when she calls. We even seen with the rubber ducky scene, when, like, him get into the hotel in the first place, he does conflict with himself to actually answer the call and to actually listen to her. But, like, that's very surface level stuff. I have an issue with Lucifer in season 1, because we still don't know why he's depressed. We still don't know why she cut him off that led to his depression. We understand very clearly between these two characters how Lilith has affected them, but we have no fucking clue what Charlie and Lucifer are like in their lives, and that what should be an emotional song later on with more than anything ends up being nothing at all.
Yeah, and also they want to show that Lucifer is like a deadbeat, doesn't care about Charlie, when the first thing he does when he shows up to the hotel is hug her and say how much he missed her, and like he and like his and like one of his first lines when he calls her is like, "Oh yeah, anything in my power is yours for the taking."
Oh, well, overall, just from like hearing from what you two said, and just at least the way I interpret it, I can't buy this whole conflict between the two at all. I mean,
Yeah, me neither.
I
Like,
mean,
the most I really get is that you like, no, like you just said, he offers all that stuff. What that can do in Charlie's mind is piss her off more, because it may feel like it's, transactional, it's materialistic. If he gives all this stuff to her, suddenly that will, wash away everything he's not properly doing. Like, really, he should be at the hotel with her. That's what she wants.
yeah, and also from just looking at from the way Lucifer is, I don't understand why he didn't go to he didn't stay at the hotel to begin with. If he actually gives a fuck.
Well, so like I went over earlier, they make it very abundantly clear to us that Charlie did kick him out and cut him off out of her life. But the moment they make up in this episode, I don't know why he stays. He just fucks off, and then Charlie later almost dies because he's still missing. Which will never lead to any conflict ever, by the way. Fuck my life.
So then Lucifer shows up at the hotel, and and him and Alistair start beef, and then I understand why Lucifer has beef with Alistair, because Alistair's getting a little too close for comfort with his daughter, but why does Alistair have beef with Lucifer? It is never explained.
And it's made
I
even
think it's because. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Toon. Then I'll give my input after.
yeah, my bad. It at first you think it's to kind of further the manipulation that he gives a fuck about Charlie, so that way he can eventually make a deal with her. And to an extent, I could kind of see it like that. But the issue is, why make it so? I don't know how to explain it. It's like, if maybe Alistair told Charlie beforehand, like, should you really trust your father? If he kind of like planted the seeds of doubt in her head, and then, basically let Lucifer do all the talking and basically shoot down Charlie's dream with his own words, then, that's thinking 5 steps ahead on Alistair's behalf. But no, he instead comes off as a whiny little fucking prick and is like, oh, you're such a brat. Like, fuck you, I started this business. Do you know how much I sacrificed type shit? Like, I don't get why he's got to, like, be so public about it. I think of this supposed master manipulator to actually fucking manipulate. So when Lucifer comes in, and I just see how upset he is, and also something else I just don't get is the fact that not Lucifer, Alistair's like, you could call me Dad when they start singing Hell's Greatest Dad. It's just more so like, where does this come from? Like, we know that Alistair clearly doesn't give a shit about the hotel, and season 2 makes that abundantly clear. So for the entirety of this whole episode, it makes Alistair's position on all of this just weirder, because when Mimsy is about to self-invite herself into the hotel, like she's just about to say, I should just crash here, he's like, oh no, you should leave or give Redemption a chance. It's like, why would he say that? Why would he believe in Charlie's plan when he literally is only here out of what Rosie said? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It makes him look like a major. I don't want to say like anything too harsh, but he's a fuck up. He's an absolute like fuck up of a character, to where I don't understand what they're trying to do with him. Why does he hate Lucifer? We don't fucking know. Is it because he wants to be like Lucifer? Well, then sure. But why does he have to act like such a whiny prick about it? It's just like that thing from the meeting. Like, he acts more like Vox in some instances. In And I'm just like, well, is this just meant to be Vox? Like, is Vox meant to be here instead of Alistair? Like, I don't get it. Like, in season 2, I can get why Vox would be jealous of Lucifer, but in season 1, I don't get why Alistair is jealous of Lucifer. He shouldn't give a fuck. There's no beef. There's no established history. Lucifer doesn't listen to the Radio Demons podcasts or fucking thumbcasts or whatever he fucking hosts. He doesn't listen to fucking Alistair's disagreement days. So I don't get why, you know, Alistair should care. I don't get why he has to basically insert himself. It says, oh, you should call me Dad. You should do this and that. Like, we're so close. And it's like, no, we're not. And I don't get why Charlie isn't calling any of that shit out either during the song, when it's like, he acts like a prick the entire time. And even after the song and in future episodes, I find it crazy that Charlie never references the song at all whenever Lucifer acts like a complete douche to her. Not Lucifer, Alistair acts like a complete douche to her. Because, she could say, well, what about that stuff you said? Like, Alistair could play it off, be more into the manipulation, but it's like, the show, it's like they take a character and you think they're going to go into a straight line, but it's like a fucking squiggly line. It's like I'm looking at a stalk. Like, it's up, down, sideways, like backways, forwardways. I don't get what they're trying to do here, and it pisses me off because I want to fucking like this guy.
No, Toon, you don't get the Suns exist in a vacuum. Any development in
So-
them is exclusive to the Suns.
Now my input. I do have my own ideas on like why he actually has this beef, and I actually find it somewhat sensical, actually. So for one of the big character traits of Alistair in general is that he is a rage baiter for shits and giggles. Do I enjoy being difficult? Yes. So one, what Toon already said and understood was he might be really pissed off that, well, Alistair wants to be the most. He probably not just wants to be the most powerful sinner in hell, but also more powerful than Lucifer. And Lucifer being that powerful probably pisses him off. But more so, what probably pisses him off even more is that Lucifer is too fucking aloof for a guy who has so much power. And this is something that pisses Vox off too, at the rally. So there's that. But yes, a big issue is that like he's supposed to be pretty well manipulative towards Charlie in this musical segment. But the problem is, whereas Angel masterfully like pays attention to what friends want out of him to deflect out of growth, or Val, using the contract against Angel and his previous knowledge of them, Alistair and Charlie don't have a bond for him to leverage. At best, what Alistair can do is provoke Lucifer into acting like a really bad dad, which he does. He does do that. But the song likes to pretend like there's more to it than that. Like Alistair is this similar father figure. But none of this is fucking true. One thing that is consistent across the pilot, season 1 and season 2, all in univocality, is that Alistair is mostly like a butler to the hotel. He has no personal connection to anyone except Husk and Nifty. But even then, Nifty and him aren't shown to have personal conflict. So the only person he really has a personal connection with, any sort of social background with, is Husk. And I don't think Vox was really meant to be here because it very much is something like Alistair is doing this for fun. He's bored. And yes, something I'm confused about myself is that inconsistently throughout the show, they want to put Alistair as if he doesn't really believe or care about the meaning of the hotel. But sometimes he does seem to sincerely hope that Charlie's right. Why though? Because as we later learn about him, he just in this shit for the love of game. He loves to torture and kill people. That's why he's here. He deliberately chose to be in hell. He did a fucking ritual that summoned him into hell as the most powerful sinner. As the most powerful demon. He wanted to be above everyone else. For the love of the game. So I don't know why he would hope that Charlie's right. To a degree, he's the public thing with Mimsy is that, as I recall, I'm pretty sure Charlie is still in that scene, or even if nobody is present in the scene, which at least a few people are. The word of mouth that can come from Alistair saying this can give him leverage over Charlie in the future. Look what I did for you here. Or even, gaslighting her into thinking that she believes in the hotel. That he believes in the hotel. Which, granted, as they really do seem to establish, Vaggie and Charlie aren't sure. They are very agnostic. They're not certain what his goal is with the hotel. They're not sure he doesn't believe in it, and they're not sure he believes in it. They're very confused. And Alistair's status quo that he's supposed to be uplifting for utility is, in fact, that perceived agnosticism. But unfortunately, they'll never tell us why exactly he needs this. What is the potential political move that the hotel provides? other than, I guess, being, a fuck you to Vox, which they do, but there's probably other utilities that Alistair would think of that they refuse to tackle.
Yeah. And so I feel like we pretty much covered everything about Hell's greatest dad in that little thing, so there's really no need to go over it. I did want to say before we moved on that I find Alistair swearing pretty damaging to his character, just considering he is not the person to swear. Like, he's the one character who shouldn't, and he does.
Actually, the one character, and to give credit, my girlfriend brought this up to me. The one character I am entirely confused and against swearing is Emily, who is like specifically written to be if the potential reason why Heaven swears so much is that they're hypocrites or something like that, then why would the one person that actually represents an ideal Heaven swear? Alistair, it's whatever, because at the end of the day, he is kind of a callous person, and they definitely convey that with his mouth sometimes when things don't go his way. I think what I would say bothers me is when he casually swears. When he, like, when Adam beats his ass and he's really, I'm fucked, moment, that's fair. When, you know, when Lucifer or Vox are pissing him off, the fuck you that comes out. But the sometimes casual usage of fuck is very confusing for his character because he is a very formal and old-fashioned man, and that's part of his disguise.
I feel like just more so, even when he swears in general, even if like the moment does call for him to have like a very erratic reaction, even if it's justified, I feel like, and Alistair basically tells this to Charlie later on, but he basically makes it clear that, having a smile, like, you it have fuck, I can't even talk. It allows for people to not know your next move. Like, he's literally saying that he does what he does without saying this is why I do what I do. Like, he says that I do this, like I smile and I act all confident and shit. So that way no one knows my next move. So that way I'm the one who stays in power. Even though, he was telling Charlie in that future episode, it's a good way to consolidate your power and hide your next move. Like, he's literally telling us, the audience, as well, I'm doing this to make sure that no one knows my true intent. So when he curses, I just find that as a very lazy way to have his veil just kind of flop over. Like, I could understand he would be a lot more a lot more angry around someone like Rosie, who literally owns his soul in season 2. But at least in season 1, speaking, there's no real moment, in my opinion, for him to really get so angry or so annoyed to where he just curses ever so casually after episode 5 and onward. I really dislike it. I feel like it's kind of just, eh.
Yeah,
Like you said, he's a very formal guy, and
yeah.
I agree with that. But you can't have everyone swear in this show. I get it's an adult show. You can make use of that cursing, but having a character remain consistently formal and just outright keeping their head on a swivel no matter the situation is a good way to make your character stand out compared to the rest of the cast that is already swearing and such. So to have
Yeah.
Alistair just kind of swear so casually from episode 5 and just thereon, it just makes me feel like I can't take him seriously no longer because now he's just like everyone else. It's
Yeah,
like
there's
what
certainly like individual unique reasons. Whereas Angel has been portrayed as clearly putting on an act towards everyone. He has very deflective, from an actual serious way of speaking. His speech patterns are, in fact, to deflect from the real him. Charlie swears because she's generally a super frantic character. Vox is envious as shit. Velvet is a very,
she's a
condescending person overall, so she uses it for that. And then Adam, it's because he respects no one. Lute, it's because she's angsty. And then you get to Alistair, and I can see this. I get it. Like, why exactly does he swear other than for season 1, right? Season 2, it's more understandable because he's constantly in a really bad spot in season 2. But for season 1, outside of the Adam fight, understandably to the same, like, admittedly, there doesn't seem to be a very characterizable good reason why he swears outside of that one Adam fight where he loses compared to like everyone else, right? Everyone else really conveys something, and then Alistair, I mean, his swearing mostly feels like a smokescreen for what actually, as a replacement for actual character depth.
I mean, I do agree. At the end of the day, I still personally think that him cursing even after Adam beats him is kind of a bit silly. But I will say that just overall, it kind of feels like the whole syndrome thing where it's like if everyone's super, no one will be. And it applies here. It's like if everyone's cursing, well then no one is,
Yeah,
special.
that's a structural issue like lots of people, even hardcore fans, have, where even though there's distinct reasons you can point out why people swear, why people make the jokes they do, at the end of the day, for some reason, everyone in Hazbin does swear this. They have the same swearing speech patterns, and they have the same, sense of humor. And it's like, well, why?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we need to get a backstory on where they got their comedy from, but it would be nice to have it to where every character feels personally, or at least like personalized in the sense to where their way of talking and thinking um, at least appears different. Like if they want to use the same old joke, whatever, but there's literally no point in my head, at least, to just have every character do the same exact thing, say the same exact thing. It's boring. It's boring and it's not fun to watch. And I fucking hate it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just my biggest issue that comes out of episode 5 is the fact that Alistair is confusing as a character. Lucifer is kind of a not so shitty dad, even though there is definitely like some bad things about him that I'll be like you guys said isn't really like talked about or really shown to us, even though it would make more sense to use those particular things like his depression or his not I don't want to say nervousness, but like his hesitance towards how he approaches his daughter, you know, to actually be a good way for the show to talk about how he's a deadbeat in that way. But just overall, the big issue with episode 5 is that I can't see what the writers want me to think. Like up until this point, even if I'm a dumbass fan and I don't know anything, like I can still follow along, but this is like the point here where it's like we're in D-Day, okay? This is no man's land. This
Yeah, it
is
starts to get real confusing
yeah.
because what happens by this point is we don't really understand, like, too fully, properly, Alistair's behavior throughout this episode. Uh, the the alleged tumultuous father and daughter relationship is broken on a premise level of completely misunderstanding how to build that sort of conflict. And so, like, what do you have left? Mimsy, I guess?
No. Fuck. He,
Like,
he's always
Mimsy, Mimsy's pretty unimportant too. Why would she be the clutch of the episode?
no. You gotta understand. For the third time, we have to say that Alistair is this big, evil, spooky guy. Like, holy, I swear, I really do get sick and tired when the show constantly tells me that Alistair is like this big, powerful nutcase when I can clearly see that. It really does get annoying. And Mimsy
Yeah.
whole inclusion is just to be like a cameo of sorts for those who were there when Busy Pop was showing like her characters for the old Hazbin Hotel or whatever,
Yeah.
like Roby or whatever. So I like she's not a character. She's only here.
Yeah, she's
It just
only
makes
here
it.
as like an Easter egg towards what the original show. Yeah, no, it's like the thing you said with like them constantly telling you, "Oh, Alistair's all that." Yeah, well, you already made that clear already. Can you stop? It starts to feel that they're not confident in the context itself conveying that. That they have to
Well,
remind you every couple of seconds that, oh no, he is this badass.
well, he clearly isn't. It's like saying that
Yeah, he's
Broly.
clearly isn't, and like if it feels like a band-aid over where there should be something telling us that.
Yeah, it's like saying Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan, but having him getting his ass kicked by Piccolo.
Broly actually is a legendary Super Saiyan.
No, yeah, but no, but what I mean is like it's saying that it's like them repeating, oh, Broly, he's the
Yeah,
legendary,
yeah, yeah.
but then he like
Like
Krillin like jumps his ass.
imagine if they were like, oh, Frieza's a like big royalty or Vegeta's a big royalty, but we never see them alongside their actual family and their political importance. It's literally that.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's like the show itself knows that they can't get Alistair down, so they have to kind of distract you by reminding you that he is this big, powerful, evil person. And to be honest, considering Mimsy knows a different side of Alistair that's a lot more tame, it would be nice for her to actually talk a bit more about his backstory until we get to season 2. But she doesn't really do that. And also, something I do find a bit dumb on Alistair is the fact that Alistair lets her go, even though Alistair should consider the fact that Mimsy could easily take this information to someone like the Beast to get back at Alistair, since she's clearly petty. Like, what the fuck, dude? Think about your actions. Like, Mimsy says that, oh, I ran over that Stark bitch's girl because she had it coming. So if and keep in mind, her and Alistair know each other very well. So why doesn't Alistair think, oh, me leaving her to walk away from the hotel could potentially risk her telling someone or like one of my enemies all these secrets about me, all these personal things about me that they can use to attack me. Like, might be
Yeah.
cautious about that. I'm not saying that Grimsy needs to be at the hotel to redeem herself, but she could at least be at the hotel for Alistair to have a way to keep his secrets hidden, but not.
I think an issue I also have about Mimsy is that canonically, as far as the show is concerned, Alistair is the best manipulator in the lore that we've been introduced to, as far as the show wants to portray it. That's not actually the case in terms of competency. But knowing this, right, it's wild how he walks into every single trap Mimsy sets up. I don't know why he wouldn't recognize all of that.
Yeah, that is definitely very stupid. And him calling out the fact that, oh well, you know basically have us like you basically have all this danger coming to me, and I'm just gonna put my foot down. It's like, well, you clearly like killing people. Like you didn't have a problem with it before, but now you're gonna say, oh well, it's a problem. You should go now. It's like, no, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It
like
doesn't.
there is the saying, game recognized game, and for some reason they don't want to treat Mimsy and Alistair like they would actually recognize each other's tactics.
Yeah,
Alistair is just a vehicle for Mimsy's plot carry of putting him where they show needs him to be, rather than Alistair having the agency to understand what Mimsy is doing, even though he should.
yeah. It's dumb. It's the kind of writing that just makes your character more stupid than you want them to be. Like you want your characters to be competent, and you want them to stay competent and stay true to themselves. But if you can't even have them understand the world around them and not even read the room, it's like, well, then what's the fucking point of saying that they're this intelligent or that they're this clever?
Yeah, like I think that's what's frustrating to people when we bring up the writing of Hazbin Hotel. Is because like its target demographic is so old and so past this kind of Disney Channel ass writing. And Masquerade itself even chooses to actually treat everyone like adults or late teens. Yet the rest of the show really wants to remind you of basic facts you saw 10 minutes ago. Pretend that game, something like game recognized game doesn't exist. Or pretend that security is, irrelevant, etc. It's frustrating to see, like, something with such explicit material not even try to match your, reasonably assumed intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna just rest it there because we gotta get to the other things that happens.
Yeah. So I originally had this episode at a 7, but honestly, all these points about how fucked Alistair and Mimsy's relationship is hasn't knocked down to a 6.
Yo, set. I'm gonna shut up. Not making that joke.
I think, like, to my memory, this was probably, like, episode 3 is a total slog to get through. Episode 2, nothing happens. I think on trying to understand what the fuck is happening, episode 5 was probably my most hated.
it feels more like filler. Like
Yeah,
weirdly enough,
like, lots of season 1 feels like filler. Or is even functionally filler because instead of actually trying to get us to Extermination Day through the POV of every party, going through that, we were going on little side quests in between.
Yeah, it's just that's just how it is. That's what happens when you rush a show.
Yeah, it is what happens when you rush a show. Like, I honestly, genuinely believe you could probably have this entire season be 3 episodes and tell the same fucking story. And that's bad. Especially when, like, we like to say, oh, well, the episode count is not enough. I actually think it's too fucking long for how they handled this season. Season 2, though, yeah, that might have needed an extra, like, 3 episodes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, let's move on because I'm already
Yeah.
like annoyed with fucking
Yeah.
episode.
So I find it weird that they completely framed Lucifer as in the wrong when he talks about, oh, sinners are kind of bad people and heaven is really strict. When like, no, Lucifer has a point. Why is Charlie questioning him?
Yeah, and on top of that, she literally reads it in the fucking opening monologue that the other people in heaven thought that Lucifer's way of thinking was too risky and like dangerous or whatever. So why the fuck wouldn't she kind of think to herself, well, he has a point? Like you're telling me you can't refute that argument?
Yeah.
I think what's confusing is that thematically I think they're trying to put Lucifer as very jaded here, yet he has probably the most realistic like in view opinion on what it's like to be in hell. He isn't like the people here. He understands why everybody functions the way they do. Hell is way too heaven is way too nihilistic about it. And then Charlie's a bit too optimistic, and then Lucifer's just in the middle, where maybe redemption is possible, but how the hell will you convince everyone? How do you make the difference? And then, he also just doesn't like the exterminations too much either. He's very much a middleman that the story wants you, for some reason, to think is in the wrong about the way he thinks. Which is also confusing in general if you're picking themes. Trying to like Lucifer genuinely holds the opinion how probably the majority of people would agree with. And that's probably why Lucifer is a liked character anyways, like this opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's
Anyways,
just blatantly fucking based.
Sorry about that. Anyways, then a bunch of people attack the hotel. Alistair gains another ability and turns into a giant fucking kaiju to kill them all.
Wait.
I forgot he did that. Why does he never do this again, yo? No.
We get
That's a thing you could tackle in of itself in season 2 since he gets even stronger and doesn't do this again.
Oh yeah, that actually could have been very useful against the fucking shark that
Big ass fucking
Vox at
shark.
him.
there's a whole like the whole chase is playing out like there's a size difference when since he's stronger than he was in season 1, he's the peak of his strength right now after Rosie, like finally gives him an extra power.
It's funny
Like
because it
fixed
kind
his
of
staff and everything, but he can't fucking turn into a kaiju to fight a fucking kaiju again. Bro,
it's funny because it kind of reminds me of that scene from Dragon Ball Super Superhero where Krillin's like, "Oh wait, Piccolo, why don't you turn big?" And then Piccolo's like, "Oh shit, I forgot I could do that." It's like,
see, no. I would like that to happen with like a lot of the abilities. Because it would also fit tonally. Like, wait, did you do remember you can do this, right? Oh, fuck, my bad. Does it? It would be a fun like because that's not lampshaded at that point. It is actually the action being taken.
I agree,
Yeah.
but no.
Anyways, then we get
Nah,
a really
fuck you. You can't have something so cool like that.
yeah. Anyways, then we get a really funny line from Charlie, like, "How come he can believe in me, but my own father can't?" When Lucifer isn't the one manipulating her for his own gain.
Oh man, that's character assassination in of itself. Like I said earlier, Vaggie believe he's agnostic. They do not believe he holds like a belief or not. Why would she say like why?
It is what it is. It is what it is, I suppose.
Anyway, so then we get More Than Anything, and I have trouble being unbiased with this song because it's genuinely really sweet, but also it
Yeah.
has pretty stiff animation at points.
No, like with More Than Anything, like it really is a love letter to people who struggle with that thing. It's a great song in of itself if you're, trying to reach out to the public. But as a conceptual framework within the own show, it does not function for the reasons listed out earlier. There is no groundwork between the two to make the song really resonate outside of someone's relatability to the song. And the animation, oh my god, every single facial animation with Lucifer. Oh, it looks wrong. It's expressive and unexpressive at the same time. It's really that uncanny valley where there's not a whole lot of motion. There's not only is there not a whole lot of motion going on with the frame data itself and how things are moving, but also the expressions just don't match up to what the voice is conveying properly. It feels like an unfinished scene. It really does. Like it's not just like low skill animation. They're trying hard in this scene, like they literally do with a very fire animation of You Didn't Know. But it feels like there's not. The animation really does feel incomplete in this musical segment.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyways, so that about wraps up episode 5. End of episode 5, going into episode 6. Charlie should really be questioning Vaggie on why she doesn't want to go to heaven. Like she should really be thinking like, hey, why are you so against the idea of going to heaven with me? And like everyone, or at least someone else should point it out to her, and they just don't.
Yeah. Also, eh, once again with the whole like, sorry, yeah. Later on, Carmilla is like, "Oh, it's pretty obvious you're an angel." It's kind of like, how doesn't Charlie like get suspicious of that, or like at least a bit suspicious that once they get there, Vaggie's very fed up immediately.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That like feels like another lampshade season 1 where Carmilla is like, yeah, you're not even trying, or at least if you are trying, you're doing a 1 out of 10 job at doing it. Borderline a 0, and then not a single soul suspects a goddamn thing. Just Carmilla.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, darn ridiculous.
Yeah. Then we're introduced to Cherry Bomb, and I feel like she should have been introduced way sooner, at least in Masquerade. Like,
Honestly, she just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't really understand what purpose she really needed here. I'm not saying that she's like a bad character in any way.
No, she's good. I find it impressive how well they do with her short amount of screen time throughout the series.
Yeah, she's not bad at all. It's just more so like it's kind of like Mimsy in a way where it's like they come out of nowhere and you're just like, well, what the fuck, man? What do we do?
Yeah, that was like a big thing in general I had with season 1 rewatching it, was I continuously kept getting rage baited by the fact it's not just Mimsy, it's not just like Cherry Bomb. In general, like everybody just pops up out of fucking nowhere. Even Penches is pulled out of fucking Narnia, man.
Yeah, it is kind of ridiculous how that shit just happens. But at least Cherry Bomb is a good way to kind of show like Angel, or at least allow Angel to grow more as a character. So it's not the worst thing in the world, I'll say.
Yeah, she allows to kind of validate his fun violence interests.
so then we get to heaven itself, and we meet the second worst character in the show, Saint Peter.
Oh my
Oh,
fucking god.
also, I find it absolutely crazy that in hell they get super uptight when someone curses, but then when Saint Peter curses the way he does, they're all just like, whatever. Like that's kind of silly, in my opinion.
And can we even call him? Is he even Saint Peter? He's not.
I would say Abel is a more innocent character. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Peter is like very just like wimpy. He's very consistently wimpy, and that kind of annoys me.
And funnily enough, he has the worst song in season 1. Welcome to heaven, dear
Oh
God,
yeah,
my.
As a song.
can I just say, heaven as an entirety is like a fucking kindergarten school. I absolutely hate how heaven is depicted. I think it outright makes heaven look like a better place. I mean, not heaven, hell. It makes hell look like a better place, which is insane.
No, heaven sucks.
And like everyone hears hot, it's like okay, that's a subjective thing. Like I think Luna is fucking hot. Like, bro.
And again, why is Saint Peter calling everyone in heaven hot?
Oh yeah, because like they get so uptight about profanity with Adam and shit, and it's kind of like, well, why don't you do the same? Like, what? Why don't you like follow the same rules with Peter? It's very dumb because I want to believe that Heaven actually cares about their rules and shit, but they're not consistent whatsoever.
Yeah, I that's intentional. A big thematic thing is that Heaven is just super hypocritical. Like they don't follow their own rules. Like literally, for example, in the same breath, like this is a big thing. In the same breath that they'll belittle sinners for being murderers and stuff, they'll go and commit genocide because there's too many other sinners trying to get into hell, and we don't really want to deal with that extra population.
Yeah, it's very very strange. I don't like it at all.
I don't know. Heaven was kind of just mid and like whatever, and like until season 2, episode 2, where they get fleshed out significantly and are actually kind of compelling. Except Sarah, she's still dog shit. Fuck Sarah.
Yeah. Speaking of Sarah, we're introduced to her, and she meets with Adam and Lute and tells them that she allowed the exterminations in order to keep Heaven safe. When we've never been shown that hell's a threat, we're just
Yeah.
told it.
Yeah, and not even that is very inconsistent with the way it's shown because it's like obvious they clearly don't give a fuck like whatsoever. Like they're very tame. Like yeah, they're degenerate. It's like basically hell is just filled with people like Asmongold, but they just don't like they don't do shit. Like literally, what do they do? So it's like I can't buy it. I can't buy it. I can't buy it.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, no, hell is just mostly like Hassan, Piker, Asmongold, fucking I don't know, Revolver Snake.
Oh wow, we're pissing off both sides right now.
Yeah, no, like I don't really understand the whole like keep them safe. Safe from who? There's only been 2 people that have this. Lilith and Vox.
Yeah.
Like who are they afraid of? Lilith fucked off somewhere, so she's not a concern. And then
Yeah,
Vox
hacking out.
isn't even inspired to do this yet.
Yeah,
Heaven causes the inspiration in the first place.
yeah, they got so fucking spooked. It's just like, oh no, we got to do something. When it's like, what does hell even do?
They mostly just like chill out doing their degenerate stuff in hell.
Yeah, like they're
hell
just
sucks to live in, but low key everybody still wants to stay there. Part of like Charlie's rhetoric is actually trying to make heaven seem appealing compared to hell. Everybody can do whatever they want in hell. Lucifer's not gonna say a thing. Heaven won't say a thing. They just exist here. But no. Heaven's actually in danger unless we do exterminations.
for somehow it is somehow
Yeah.
magically. It just is the way it is, I guess.
Don't think,
Right.
just listen.
Alright, I kind of hate to cut this short, but I am getting kind of tired. So, would you want to pick this back up for the last 2.5 episodes and the rest of the discussion sometime soon?
Yeah, we can do that.
Right.
I'm certainly gonna have a field day if we ever cover season 2, episode 3. I'm gonna lose my verbally crash out. You might hear me yell. I swear. I fucking
He might just release the Sigma. He might.
I'm gonna do a famous comic legend ass crash out that mainly only City of Ember 313 knows.
All right, I guess that's it. I guess that's about it then.